Leisure Studios at the Flynn Broadcasting Center. It is great to look and see 54 degrees outside, sunshine. Wait, that's green. That's grass that I see out there. Not white, not piles of flakes. No, we have what almost feels like spring. And honestly, it is good to be back out and about. My partner in crime, Brett Norsworthy, still in Forest City, but that's not because of weather. He's got his little studio there. Drew is off today. Gabe Kuhn filling in very ably. How are you this afternoon?
I'm well. Almost 60 degrees warmer today than it was a week ago today.
Yeah. It feels.
And you can feel it.
It feels great to be able to drive. There's a liberating sense you get when you're, returning to a bit of normalcy and you start to plan
Dave,
ahead.
It's one of the biggest freedoms we have as Americans is that to go to our car.
Yeah, right.
And especially us in rural areas, and even Memphis compared to some of the major metropolitan areas, that we're not a good bus system in Memphis, good public transportation system in Memphis, but we're not relying on it, and that freedom to go to your car and you tool around wherever you want to tool around to, that is something I think we take for granted, and we shouldn't, because that is liberating. Have you been out and walked any today, like on the street in front of your house or down your street?
No. You know what? We did that a couple of times over the weekend. Once in the snow, once when it was getting pretty slushy. Yesterday, but no, I really didn't do that because today we shot the Penny Hardaway show, so I've been prepping. And
this is weird.
Honestly, I just been so excited about being able to go out and not worry.
Right.
To see.
Well, when you do, I think you'll find it not concrete, but asphalt, like most neighborhood streets are. Well, it's really spongy. It's got a lot of give to it.
Maybe there's a lot of water underneath there.
It's got to be that.
Yeah. I have not noticed, that, to be totally honest with you. It was really good, though, to have a sense of routine and normalcy, knowing I would come here and not doing the show from the house, knowing that I would be talking to Penny Hardaway today. And I did get a chance to catch up with him. And you can see his show tonight at 6:30 on ABC 24, if you don't mind the shameless plug that I'm giving. But he was in pretty good spirits. First time he has divulged that he did not have the COVID, but a lot of his team, administrators, he never gave me a total number, but it was a lot. And when I asked him point blank if they could have played it all last week, and they just didn't want to be non-competitive, he goes, no, we didn't have enough bodies. We could not have played a game. So there were plenty of people.
That's all has to be said.
I think we're going to see a couple of schedule changes, not this week, but next week. We'll wait final word on that. I don't want to lead anybody astray. But Memphis will be busier next week, I think, than they would have. And because of that, I think Penny's absolute stance at playing more people, because let's face it, there were a lot of people that wanted him to shorten his rotation by more than he did when he got to this streak of winning 6 out of 7. And that's going to come in handy because these guys are not in shape. They started practicing on Saturday. They were not able to do any kind of fitness stuff when they were in quarantine. So basically, you're going to need guys that'll have shorter stints. That depth that he has developed, 10 or 11 guys, including Jaden, who's come in, and guys at the very end of the bench. Heck, Jordan Nesbitt may get some playing time now. But because he played so many guys, that depth's going to come in handy because, let's face it, he's still going to play the way he wants to play, which is up-tempo and a lot of pressing, and you're going to need bodies, and he's been playing bodies all year long.
Yeah, you're going to need a lot more bodies, like you said, Dave. Well said. And the Hubie Brown 10-man rotation is going to hold him in good stead come tourney time, and that's going to be for a lot of people. It's not going to be the 7-8 rotation that we're used to, because also this, Dave, I don't know where it's coming from, but we know tournament week and if it doesn't happen, and I'm wrong about this, and I hope I am, we've gotten really lucky, but there will be rosters taxed with last-second scratches come NCAA tournament time. I'm almost of the belief now this Tiger pause, it sure hadn't hurt on the NCAA bubble issue. It may have even helped.
Well, I'll tell you what. If they end up playing Houston twice, I don't think they're going to be able to make up the Wichita State. But you know what? Maybe in the long run that helps because they have one win over a team that is now in first place in the conference. So I just – well, you know what? Penny does say this on the show. Now you're getting me to think about this a little bit. And here as I start
I've
to
been
think,
all over the ballpark with it.
He went over like 5 guys, from Lomax's injuries to DeAndre Williams back to an Achilles issue for Lester Quinones. There were like 5 or 6 guys that were trying to play through pain. And he said they're healthy as could be right now. So for that, maybe you are right. But now, how rusty will they be? Here's a team that has a penchant to turn the ball over. I know. But, you know, Michigan, I'll tell you something that's really interesting. Memphis, and I think Michigan's a little bit more experienced. Memphis, out of 347 teams in college basketball, at the
with the
Division
Ivy
I
taken
level.
off.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, with the 10 teams out of the Ivy out.
All right, so 347. Where do you think, in terms of experience, and they got a formula that figures us all out, in terms of experience, where do you think Memphis's team sits?
I know this. Yeah, I know this.
Okay. It is 321st.
Right.
So they have an average of 1.21 years of experience. Well, that could possibly be one of the reasons for all the turnovers, that they're young and they haven't played together very much, and that's a fair and true statement. But that's the thing that worries me the most, Brett, when you're off and you're a team that's already got a penchant for turning things over. I certainly hope that is not the case. Now, their first game,
I wonder where Michigan would be on that list
of experience. I don't know. That's a good question.
Because preseason, the Tigers checked in the first AP, and we will talk a lot of Associated Press poll today. They checked in at the preseason release. The Tigers were 27th, if you counted all the way down. You know where Michigan was? They were 25th.
Really? Wow.
And, you know, there's a lot of parallels because of the coaches and the lack of head coaching experience at the college level for both of them, but basketball lifers, both Juwan Howard and Coach Hardaway.
Yeah. And Memphis only hopes to have that kind of success, but Juwan Howard is showing it can be done, where a guy who didn't have a lot of coaching experience comes in, takes over a program, leads them to the glory land, or in this case, at least the NCAA tournament. I think
that game yesterday
good.
against Ohio State was a classic.
Yeah. Well,
game of the year in college basketball.
Yeah, I was thinking about as we get closer to Selection Sunday. And, you know, this year in particular, they're supposed to go by the S-curve, right? They don't have to take in regional issues because everybody's in Indy. So this is supposed to be by the proverbial S-curve where the number 1 team would take on the 68th team and so on and so forth. How are they going to do that if 10 teams from the Big Ten come in and you can't play anybody from your league for the first couple of rounds?
Good question. Be almost impossible,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? Would they waive it?
They're going to have to. They make exceptions to the S-curve for those kinds of things. So we're going to see variations for sure. And the committee, this is going to be the toughest year we've ever seen.
Impossible.
So if Memphis,
Mike DeCourcy's bracket out today at Fox, for Fox College Hoops. Mike DeCourcy has 9 from the Big Ten, 7 from the Big 12, 6 from the ACC and the SEC. 5 from the Big East, 5 from the Pac-12, 3 from the Mountain West, 2 from the West Coast Conference, 2 from the A-10, and 2 from the Valley.
So it was still just one. He does not have Wichita State in the bracket?
Does not.
Wow. I thought Lenardi might have moved Wichita State into last four in. I haven't really checked it today. I thought that's where it was, but that when you're in the last four in, last four out, that gets really, really dicey.
You're at the mercy of the court. You really are.
Yeah.
Arkansas, a 6 seed, according to Mike DeCourcy, and if it played out as his bracket says today, and we know it probably won't, Mike knows that too, it's the best guess from one of the smart people around. He has Arkansas as a 6 seed playing Seton Hall as the 11. And, of course, that winner gets the winner of the 3-14 game, and that's West Virginia and Navy. Arkansas and West Virginia in a second round would be a really good game.
Where does he have the University of Tennessee today after that ugly, ugly loss at home to John Calipari? So they've gone basically from a second seed not that long ago all the way down to a 6 seed. And they are struggling.
Playing Indiana.
Wow.
Of course, that'd be in Indiana's backyard.
Sure.
I don't think Indiana's that good, but I don't think Tennessee's that good. And, Dave, I've said all year, I think the SEC is going to get 6 bids. I don't think it's very good. I don't think there's a Final Four run team. I've been consistent with that, and this weekend played out. I sure don't want to, I sure don't want to beat up on Ole Miss, but Saturday played out. Tennessee, they lay that egg. Ole Miss, it is set up for them at home.
Yep.
Everybody they need to lose around them, they're losing, and they turn in that effort against just a very average Mississippi State team.
Yeah, I was really shocked when I saw the end of that game, and I was literally stunned. I thought this was where Ole Miss and Kermit Davis were going to make their move because the stage, as you said, was perfectly set for them, and I do not know what happened. I really don't. That
was poor. That was poor Saturday. I thought Ben Howland maybe out X and O'd a little bit, Kermit, on Saturday with how he adjusted to the 1-3-1 zone and just kept pounding it inside to Adu. I mean, it was Adu, and he kept pounding it. And then on the other end, he had a good defensive plan for Devontae Shuler. And now Ole Miss probably needs to win out, including going to Columbia and hosting Kentucky in Oxford, and probably needs to win 2 in Nashville. That's a lot of winning the rest of the way, and that was poor on Saturday when everything was breaking their way. They're at home and have that effort. Or have that result. The effort was fine. Effort was fine. Let me rephrase that. Have that result.
It was stunning. I have not seen the final numbers, but I would have to think they did not shoot well because that is the biggest bugaboo of this Ole Miss basketball team all year.
Didn't.
Poor shooting.
They did not shoot well on Saturday. This hour of our show brought to you every day by the one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis, and that's Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. They're online at lexusofmemphis.com. 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis offering the Big Thaw Golden Opportunity Sales Event as we thaw out from the deep freeze of the last 2 weeks. Great offers on all 2021 models and always special lease options at Lexus of Memphis. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis. Again, the one and only Lexus dealership in town at 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you will be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. 901-362-8833. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, that would be the Grizzlies trying to get back over 500. They go to Dallas today. The big news from the game over the weekend was Justice Winslow played. Justice Winslow had a good second half. He had a very, very rusty first half. For me, part of the story was there was no Kyle Anderson, no Dylan Brooks, no Brandon Clark, no Grayson Allen. Why? Why would you want to tank a game against a team you may be fighting for a playoff spot later in the year? I just don't get what the NBA is doing. Same thing the Clippers did with the Nets. The Clippers pull Paul George out of the game with 2:50 to go because he had minutes restrictions. Here's a guy who's keeping his team in the game. 34.6 rebounds, 7 assists. He'd played 32 minutes. He hadn't played in 7 weeks. It wasn't like he had a bad knee injury. He had a swollen toe. They took him out on minutes restrictions, hot as a fire pistol. And they just don't care about winning the game. I just don't understand where this league is going, and I don't know what the Grizzlies were doing resting all of those guys. After they win, they can get over 500. This is a team they're going to compete for that playoff position.
Peer group.
And they just said, we're going to sit this one out, literally. Sit this one out.
My top story along those same lines. This is a big week for basketball in Memphis. Look, every last week of February, every year as long as I've been alive, is big the last week of February for basketball in Memphis. But this one's a really big week after what I think was the sorriest example of being a franchise the Grizzlies have ever put on display Saturday night in a 31-point white flag flown at the tip. They surrendered before the battle was ever joined, not caring. That effort so bad against Phoenix. That effort was bad from the front office. That wasn't Taylor Jenkins. That wasn't the players. That was the front office dictate, we quit. We surrender before the fight ever starts. Tonight in Dallas, in a seed line game against the Mavericks, and then 2 at home Friday and Saturday, both against the Clippers. The Grizzlies, Dave, Friday I was talking about, and I don't mean dislike, but I said this team hadn't let me like them yet. The Grizzlies almost won't let you fall in love with them with some of the front office machinations and the restrictions and the maintenance and things like that. That's bad for them. Tigers, it's real big for them. Never mind who they're playing. Never mind the effort. Heck, let's just play. Anybody, anywhere, let's just play after this stoppage.
Yeah, and I think they can't wait to play either. Again, the question will be what kind of fitness level will they have? Because literally they had no fitness training at all since they went on that pause on the 12th of February until last Saturday when they finally were able to get in the gym.
Not top story of the day.
Well, this comes from MLGW today. We got COVID numbers too, but boil water order still in effect. And when you read about it, MLGW was saying, they had initially hoped that they could allow you to drink tap water again starting today at noon. Well, that order was taken away. The boil order is still in effect, and they say until further notice. They are not giving anybody any kind of real notice, and this will affect restaurants and businesses, even like dentists and doctors that rely on water. You can't really do business without water. It'll be interesting to see how long this thing stays in effect. 113 new COVID cases in Shelby County. That's down from only 42 that we had on Friday. Some of that, though, is because now we are back to testing because the weather is better. There was one new death, 729 tests at a rate of 10.8% positivity, which is up about 3% from what it was a week ago.
My not top story, later this week, much later, into Friday, March Madness really begins. Conference tournaments start this week. Now, there's just a trickle of games Friday and Saturday, but the Horizon League starts Thursday. American East starts Friday. Big South starts Saturday. College basketball has mostly navigated through what I think has been the hardest path of any sport in the country since COVID started last March 11th on Rudy Gobert night. So many games, so many nights, so much travel, so many schedules, and for 300 of the 357 that play Division I college basketball, there's not a lot of budget there. Yeah, Kentucky and Kansas and the Tigers have a great workable budget, the SEC. But you go through it, and most all of them are very budget conscious, and to have to navigate through this, job well done for college basketball.
Well, but job's still a lot to be done. because
Yes, it is.
You've got the conference tournaments coming up, which will be important to teams like Memphis. And you've got to hope that you get through that without jeopardizing anybody's opportunity to go to Indy, because that's the more important tournament for sure, especially teams that are already in. And then this committee is going to have the toughest time. If Memphis does not make up any of the games, they will have lost 5 games. So they'll only have played 22 games. Now, I think they will make up at least one of them, but we'll see. But if they only play 22 and then you're up and you're trying to figure out percentage against teams like they beat Wichita State, but Wichita State's going to finish ahead of them in the regular season, at least at this point, unless they were to lose some games. I mean, it is a gargantuanly tough task for that committee. And as you say, for the whole sport, because you really do want to play the conference tournaments because they do bring in a revenue stream for these cash-strapped leagues, but you don't want to jeopardize your teams that are already in. This is going to be an interesting next couple of weeks just to determine exactly if everybody truly does go to their conference tournaments. We mentioned that we'll be busy. We'll be giving away medals coming your way right after our timeout. David Cobb will join us at 4. You mentioned AP. Clayton Collier from ABC 24 and CW 30. He is an AP voter. He's going to join us at 4:30. At 5 o'clock, Blake Lovell from Blue Ribbon Magazine, as we always chat with him. So we are really, really busy. A lot of stuff to talk about for sure. Just underway in the Family Leisure Studios. And now you can go to Family Leisure. You'll be just fine if you go there. You're not going to hit any ice. Really easy. Everything's clean on 40. You make a left-hand turn right there on Wooden Road. And then to your right, you'll find the Factory Direct Pool and Patio Sale. 2021 inventory is now in the house. That includes spas in stock, ready for installation now. Pool season, believe it or not, we're going to be 60 degrees tomorrow or Wednesday. That is right around the corner, and you can beat the rush by getting your pool absolutely purchased at a great price, and you will get priority on the installation date. And if you'd like a new look to your backyard, you were looking out there and seeing all that white and going, you know what, when it's springtime, I want to make some changes. I love my backyard. How about a new set of patio furniture, all state-of-the-art? They have special financing available. Now is the time to go see our friends, I-40 and Wooden Road, Family Leisure. Family and fun all come together. We are officially underway, and we'll give you some medals when we return.
You have opinions?
I think they got a lot of athletic ability.
We want to hear them.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you.
Call us on the First Bank phone line at 360-8255 or text us on the First Bank text line at 67129.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies, we will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Progressive presents The Sounds of the Old World. The year is 2019, and someone is waiting for a table at a restaurant.
Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, party of 4. Thompson, party... Oh, there you are.
This has been The Sounds of the Old World. Brought to you by Progressive, where drivers can still switch and save like it's 2019.
Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. It's February. Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Are you considering replacing your air conditioning system this spring? Conway Services and Carrier have teamed up to make now the perfect time to replace that old energy guzzling system. February is one of our slowest months of the year. Our warehouse is full and our crews are slow. So to spark business during these slow winter months, Conway Services is giving away Carrier 80% gas furnaces absolutely free with the purchase of a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right, purchase a Carrier air conditioning system during the month of February and get a gas furnace for free. If that's not enough, we'll include an April air cleaner, 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat, plus 12 months interest free. See why I call it February? And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company today, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Voloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. Couple of stories breaking here in the last hour or two. We start with the NFL, and the Pittsburgh Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin has tested positive for COVID-19. So there's a big name that we know that is getting it right now. And earlier today, and you were talking about what a good job college basketball has done, and they have. They have dodged bullets, and they've tried to be as flexible as they possibly can. But a little earlier today, we found out from Rick Pitino that Iona is out for the rest of the regular season. He says because of COVID, he does not have enough players to finish out the regular season.
Dave, it could hit Texas A&M. Texas A&M hasn't played. They haven't played a game since January the what is the date? A&M hadn't played in the month of February. This week might be the week, if they can't get going, that they just have to bow out.
Wouldn't that be something? I mean, if we had a team that just said we can't play, we're not even playing in any tournaments. Goodbye. That's it. We're done. And that could clearly happen.
And you could see it at Iona with budget issues, testing issues, large metropolitan area. But if it hits College Station,
yeah,
and the money they have,
yeah,
they could test 10 times a day if they wanted to.
Yeah, their endowment is unbelievable. So you're right. They got plenty of money. That's not the issue. They just can't seem to shake all the COVID. I haven't checked lately on East Carolina. ECU could be in that same sort of predicament here. I don't know if they have returned and started to practice or not.
And Dave, I am not playing any blame game or anything like that. I'm not playing any games. But you look at some of the things that were dubbed in all this, and we're going to look back. We said this at the beginning of it. This is going to be a case study, of course, for medical, of course, for if, and you hear all of them say it's not a matter of when, if, it's when we have the next pandemic and what we've learned and adjusted from this. We know with MERS, with Ebola, we've kind of been fortunate up to this point that it didn't hit like COVID-19 did hit. So it's going to be studied on the medical front for sure. It will be papers and case studies and doctoral thesis written on this from now through the end of time. But also, Dave, culturally, business-wise, psychologically, socially, what we don't, we're going to look back in a few years and we'll laugh at some of the stuff. Remember when we were about to scrub the hide off our hands? Well, it's good, but now we know we're not going to get it from a door handle. We know that.
Right.
It's largely nasal and droplets and things like that. But we're going to look back at some of the stuff and go, boy, wasn't that foolish? We were running around doing all that. I think one of the more foolish things is going to be during the vice presidential debate with the shields up, like the virus was going to be nice enough not to go over or around the plastic shields. I mean, if the virus is there, but anyway, one thing that will definitely be studied is. And it's the Bible verse about the rich man buying his way into heaven. Rich man can't buy his way out of this.
No.
If it's going to attack you, it's going to attack you.
No. And I think we'll look at this stretch from last March till this March, frankly, as in Memphis. Just what a strange time, from pandemic to all the other stuff that is going on, including the snowstorm and now a boil order for water, which is also hurting all these businesses. We used to say, let's get out of 2020. Let's get needles in arms and let's get the infrastructure set up and let's move on, because this is, I hope we're laughing about this in a few years, to be honest with you. I truly do. In the meantime,
and we know who won't be laughing is people that had loved ones and people close to them. Perish. It will never be that, but it will be studied. And as we get closer to the anniversary date, to March 11th, Rudy Gobert night, and it really signaled the nationwide, worldwide, this is real night.
Yeah, I do think March 11th, Rudy Gobert. That is the beginning of us realizing the situation.
You may be back in Fort Worth again this year on that date.
I could very well be. Yeah, I think I will be, because I do believe we're traveling as long as that holds up. So that will be there will be some irony to that for sure. In the meantime, let us give you some precious metals. I'm going to start off with a bronze for Max Homa. Max Homa, PGA Tour champion of Riviera, loves Riviera, is from Los Angeles, is an LA guy through and through. In fact, when he won his first tournament a couple of years ago, he got a congratulatory phone call from Tommy Lasorda. Yesterday, it wasn't easy. I was thinking to myself when he missed a 14-inch downhill putt that had bend, that he didn't see it, that this has got to be the most cruel game.
Especially when you're my partner.
You're so full of it. I never missed a 14-incher in my life. Well, I'm a liar, too.
Scott Hoke has.
Yeah. His was less than 14 inches.
Sure was.
You know what,
Scott Hoke's was in the leather.
I actually thought that Nick Faldo had a really good question. Because when you watch that ball hit the left edge when it misses on the 18th hole, which gives him the victory, the ball skids to the right and out. If the pin had stayed in, and he's got the option, and Matthew Fitzpatrick, by the way, kept it in, even on short putts, had Max Homa kept that pin in, I don't know why. If he kept that pin in, would it have hit the pin and dropped? We'll never know, but I think that it might have. But here's the thing.
Dave, you should always leave it in.
I don't know why people don't. I'm convinced of that, and I really became comfortable with it during this pandemic when you couldn't remove the flag. I got used to it, and I think it actually helps you aim a little bit more on the, especially on the longer distance putts. I don't understand why you wouldn't use it. I've yet to see a really good putt that goes in the middle of the cup that hits the pin and comes out. I don't see that ever. So I think that might have actually helped Max Homa. But the good story for Max, and it's another really just killer for Tony Finau. This guy has now, what has he got? 31 top 10 finishes since he last
won once.
His golf tournament. Yeah,
He's won
that was in
once
Puerto
ever.
Rico. I think it was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But he's had 31 top 10s. He's making a ton of money.
He has as many shredded ankles at the par 3 contest at the Masters as he has pro wins.
That's so mean. That's mean. This poor guy, I feel bad for him. That's 2 weeks in a row now. He's finished second at the tournament. One was to Dustin Johnson in the Middle East, and this one
Wouldn't it bother him at all, though, does it?
I think it does. No, I think it's killing him. I really do, and he really wanted to win
He doesn't
at
show
Riviera because he's a Californian too. Well, I guess it's okay when you. What did he make? $700,000 yesterday, finishing second.
Life's good.
Yeah, that's that part of it is really good. But man, I felt sorry for him. But Max Homa. So on the very first playoff hole, you've seen this. I'm sure he's up against the tree. I think he's got no shot. He invents a shot where he's got to shield a 60-degree sand wedge, and he gets that thing under the cup. Now, he didn't make the putt to win it, but it kept him in. I mean, it was spectacular. Though. Yeah, he gets a bronze. I'm going to give Deion
nothing
Sanders.
wrong with old man par.
No.
And I have a quick stat there for the Tony Finau thing since 2017.
Yeah.
37 top 10 finishes, no wins.
37. I thought it was 31. 37 top 10s
big
without a
coins.
win. In there, if you can look real quick, how many second place finishes? I think he's got 5 or 6 of those. I mean, it's heartbreaking for him. I guess he's going to come through one of these days. I'm going to give a silver medal to Deion Sanders. I'm going to give him a rust in a little bit too. But primetime, they say his work ethic is really amazing. He got in touch with Brett Favre when he got the job, and he got connected with all the big businessmen in Jackson, and they're giving him money. And he started off his very first game as a coach. Now, this was against an NAIA school named Edward Waters, and I must confess.
I thought that was a 70s rocker. Wasn't Edwin Winters a 70s rocker?
It's Waters, not Winters. And there was an Edgar Winter who was the brother of Johnny Winter. But I used to do the NAIA championship game, and I'm not sure I've ever heard of Edward Waters, but he beat him 53-0. 53-0. He was doing something right. Primetime. He gets a silver medal, and I'm going to give a gold to Novak Djokovic, who won his 9th Australian Open, his 18th Grand Slam. He beat Daniil Medvedev, who had won 20 matches in a row, by the way, until he lost there. So now he has won 6 of the last 10 Grand Slam championships, has Djokovic. And he's got 18, which means he trails Federer and Nadal by only 2 Grand Slams. He's younger than both of them. He's a couple of years younger than Nadal, who's like, I want to say 37. Feds is, I don't think Feds has a chance to win another one now. He's injured and he's at 40. But Djokovic has a really good chance of becoming the winningest male tennis player in the history of the game.
My bronze goes to the MLB Network. We're a week away from spring training games, and that will be another sign when we get to the March 11th day of plowing through to have real preseason or real exhibition games and a real start to season. In the month of April, Major League Baseball, for the first month of the year, will play as many games as it played as a season, or half as many games as a season last year. And when in May is over, it will be a completed season of around 60 games for Major League Baseball. I've watched more MLB Network content the last 5 days than maybe anybody. I'm going to give a bronze to Kentucky. Yeah, everybody's talking about how dangerous they are. I still don't know how good they are, but they are dangerous. Well, that roster is one that everybody in the sport wanted.
Let me just say this. I'm going to be the first one to go on record here. Calipari and Kentucky will win the SEC tournament, and he'll make the NCAA. There's not a great team in the SEC. You even said that before yourself. If Alabama has an off-shooting night, come on.
Wait till I get to my rust. My silver medal, one of those SEC teams I think is playing its best basketball, and it's Arkansas. And think about the the job that Eric Musselman has done and all the jobs that he would have taken at any point at Nevada when he had them rolling. And now Arkansas, every player he sends to the scorers table helps. They don't have a bad rotation player among their 7, 8, 9 players. Also, silver medal to Justice Winslow. It's great to see him survive double leg and arm reattachment surgery, because that had to be what happened to him for him to have been out that long. I'm glad all the Bionic Man parts are reattached properly. Gold medal goes to, for the first time in school history, we're number one. Ole Miss, number one today in Baseball America's college baseball poll. Their first pitch today is at 3:40. You can hear, just started, you can hear all that action on 96.1. State already a winner today down in Dallas. To get that tournament in was a lot of work, and Ole Miss with 2 big wins so far. Arkansas with 2 big wins, and State with the win this afternoon. And also gold medal to number one in college basketball. The team to beat is Gonzaga. Until they're knocked out of the tournament, that's the favorite.
They're crushers. They are really crushers. The only thing that I don't like about Gonzaga, seriously, is they have not played a close game yet. Not one. And that will bite you, because from the Elite 8 on, maybe the Sweet 16 on, you are not going to crush people.
Quite knuckle.
You are just not going to crush people. I loved your line on Winslow. And I'm going to give the guy the benefit of the doubt, because he did show some stuff in the second half that was pretty good. But there is such a party line there. I mean, the first thing out of Taylor Jenkins' mouth, and of course he doesn't talk unless he wins. The first thing out of his mouth, though, was, "Oh, yeah, great. That was he missed his first 7 shots. No, he's great. He's great." They are definitely going to give Justice Winslow every benefit of the doubt. So I got a rust for Deion Sanders, who I gave a medal to, and to Jackson State for just totally botching what happened. A guy came in and did try to steal some stuff from the locker room that was, I guess,
Prime
the
says
wallet.
stolen.
Yeah, no. I think they had him. I think they
credit
caught
cards.
Him. A girl caught him. She got help. They caught him. He got the stuff
dope
back. No, I hope not. Bottom line
I think
is,
Prime's walking around with no cash. Heck, you got money in your wallet. You know Deion Sanders has got some cash in his wallet.
I don't know why. First of all, he complained as loudly as he did.
Because he didn't like being stolen from.
No, I got that. But if they had caught the guy, I don't know why you have to make as big a deal out of it as he initially did. And then I don't know why his sports information would contradict him. So they both get, in my mind, rusts. And then I'm giving a rust to the brain trust of the Grizzlies for sitting all those guys for the Phoenix game.
So with you.
Just absolutely throwing in the towel.
Such a sorry look.
Yeah. Your rusts?
That was so bad Saturday. That was one of the other. I mentioned it to the SEC. They're going to get a lot of teams in. I don't think a lot of teams advance on that in that bracket. I'm not so sure anybody makes it to the Sweet 16.
No, somebody will. Somebody will make it to the Sweet 16.
Bama?
Bama could. Watch out for Kentucky. Watch out for Calipari. Are you done with your rust?
I'm trying to look at Mike DeCourcy's bracket to see where he's got Bama. He has Bama as a...
They got to be like a 3 seed.
2 seed?
2 seed. That's better than I thought.
2 seed opening against Texas State. So then that would be them playing the 8. The 7. They would play the 7, wouldn't they? The winner of the 7-10 game.
Yeah,
that'd be UCLA or Virginia Common. You let Bama not be red hot from 3. Either right. UCLA or Common can beat them.
Oh yeah, Mick Cronin's team at UCLA. You get them ice cold from outside. They could
just
win
as
that
athletic
game.
As Bama. You know that
they could win that game. I agree with that. And those are all our precious and our not so precious medals.
And I've got that Tony Finau stat for you.
What is
Since 2017 and those 37 top 10 finishes with no wins, 10 second place finishes.
10 second place.
Some of those are ties, but 10 second place finishes.
That's a lot of silver medals.
That's a lot of money. but it is not what he's.
Sure is.
And he's got to just be so tired of people talking about how he can't win. He can't win. And there are some guys that are really more comfortable that way. I don't know if that's Finau, where he doesn't care about winning and he just wants to finish top 10, keep your card forever, make yourself $50 million before it's all said and done. We, unfortunately, measure success by W's. And he hasn't won one in 4 years, so he really does need to step up. Let me tell you about a winner that I know. That's Sheldon Rosengarten with Mark Spensdorf. And speaking of golf, he says now that the snow is gone, it's time to get the golf clubs out again. You know that when people talk about real estate, they say, when you want the job done, you're going to call my guy, Sheldon. However, in golf, it's a whole different story because while the housing inventory is still very low, Sheldon's golf score is still so high. In any case, Sheldon and Kelly Erb, they got some great new listings coming up in the next few weeks in Midtown from $850 to $1.150 million. There are some truly wow houses that he is now repping. They also have one coming in a gated River Oaks community in East Memphis that's priced at $525,000, and he says it is beyond perfection. So if you or someone is thinking of selling from downtown to Germantown or beyond, talk to 2 to 3 real estate brokers. Just make sure Sheldon and Kelly Erb are one of them. Their experience and that strategic marketing program sets them apart from all the other brokers. Just like here in your home right here when I tell you about it. You can reach them at 483-0546 or memphisrelocate.com. That's memphisrelocate.com or 483-483-0546. There is a baseball story, Mr. Norsworthy, that is not a good one, but there's some finality to it, and we'll tell you what that is when we come back in a minute.
Do you know who I am?
Who are you?
I'm Superfly TNT.
Johnny Radio.
Where do you want to be? 1 to 3? Right here with me. Sports 56, 98.5, 96.1 FM, Monday through Friday. This is Sports 56 Happy Hour, your good buddy Johnny Radio.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
There's an institution in East Memphis that I love talking about. It's the Spirit Shop at 4848 Poplar Avenue, right down the street from Clark Tower, and it looks like a log cabin. It's been around Memphis since 1969 with a family-owned, friendly, knowledgeable sales staff that is just a wonderful place to go. I love going in and talking wine or bourbons, and they've got such great selection. So if you've not visited the Spirit Shop in a while, it's been remodeled. You'll love what you see when you need spirits. Tell Eddie Wollo said hello.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. 2 Memphis locations, one in Midtown on Hollywood Street across from the Liberty Bowl, and one in Cordova off Germantown Parkway next to the Fox and House. Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass.
Head on over to Frontier Western Store for their famous February sale. This is Frontier's biggest sale of the year, and it's time to save big on boots and apparel. All men's jeans are now on sale. Wrangler Carhartt pants, $5 off. Area denim is also $5 off. There are huge savings on Carhartt shirts as well. Select clearance shirts and outerwear up to 50% off. Area shirts and jackets discounted as well. Hurry in for the best selection. All novelty shirts, including Simply Southern, Girly Girl, and Puppy Love, are buy one, get one half price. Men's t-shirts by Live Oak and A-Bow, also included in this sale. Frontier has markdowns in the boot room as well. Hundreds of boots by Double H, Rocky, Durango, and Ariat, now priced to move to make room for new spring arrivals. Stop by Frontier today and grab your next pair of dress or work boots. It's the famous February sale at Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Cruising through our first hour, coming up at the top of the hour, David Cobb from CBS Sports Talk College Basketball. And a whole lot more. There's a story now breaking regarding baseball. Seattle Mariners president and CEO Kevin Mather resigning after comments he made earlier in the month to a Rotary Club on Zoom. Zooms are getting dangerous. You see what happened to the school board of a little town where they didn't realize they were open to the public, and they said some things they really shouldn't have. They were more, in my opinion, offensive, the school board was, than Kevin Mather. Kevin Mather complained about a bad contract, which he was involved with, and he complained about English speaking of former player who's a scout for him now, that they had to pay for an interpreter, and that he thought the guy should be able to speak English, and they were tired of paying for it. I thought he should have gotten slapped on the wrist or fined heavily. I'm not sure that he should have been forced to resign, but that wasn't my call. That was the owner of the Seattle Mariners, and he thought it merited it. So he is out of a job today.
Yeah, the Mariners, they haven't made the news in a very good way in a long time, and they're not predicted to do very well this year. Over and under for season win total, Dodgers, 103.5.
Wow. 103.5? I'm going under on
Southsiders,
right
90.5. White Sox, 90.5.
I can buy that. But 103.5? Telling me you're going to only lose 58 games? For goodness sake.
That's a pretty mean clip, isn't it?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's not going to happen. I'm telling you, give me the under on that right now.
The Cardinals 87.5. That's the highest in the National League Central.
Ooh, what is the Cubs?
The Braves have a big win number. Cubs, can't remember. I think 78.5.
I'm not sure if he wants to know that one.
78. So they got him under 500. Wow, that could happen.
That might have been a little. That might have been a little high. Look, last week the weather was rotten, but it's great this week. And at All-Star Chevy, to accommodate people from last week, they're going to stay open until 7:30 every night this week, or until the last person leaves the lot down at Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch. The 2021 Silverados, they've arrived in force. They're all the beautiful cars at All-Star Chevrolet, the new hot trucks. You want a new Silverado? They've got the Silverados, new 2020s, new 2021s, 0 for 72 months available right now. You got to know if it's a Chevy. If it's a Chevy, they've got it for you. Olive Branch is where you want to be. New 2021 Equinox, Blazers, third row Traverse. They've got them. Go to allstarautogroup.com and look at the all slightly driven demos. They've been previously used as loaners at the dealership All-Star with dozens of certified pre-owned Chevys, Tahoes, Silverados, and Impalas. Everyone at All-Star, one job. Make sure you get the best deal. Have a lot of fun do it in record time. Open until 7:30 tonight or until the last person leaves the dealership. Remember, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not the Pike, it's not South Haven, it's not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or go online to allstarautogroup.com.
We will pause momentarily. When we come back, our friend from CBS, David Cobb, he comes your way in just a minute.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
I'm a big fan of Town Village, and there is always something to do year-round. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $24.50. The Gourmet Chef welcomes you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, monthly coffee club, themed dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel or Bo at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
The President's Day sales event is going strong at Gossett Kia on Covington Pike. 2021 Kia Forte $133 a month lease. That's less than $5 a day for a new ride. 2021 Kia Soul completely redesigned exterior and interior $149 a month lease. And 2021 Kia K5 just $182 a month lease. All 36 months with $3149 due at signing, and they all come with Kia's 10-year 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. So let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter in your new Kia from Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike, or online at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, ME3 MSRP $20,625, Soul M77 $55,638, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP $25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title and license, with approved credit, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 3/1/21, dealer stock only.
Do you want a greener, more weed-free lawn? If you're like me, you can't stand the sight of dandelions, clover, or especially crabgrass. Hi, I'm Brandon Hawley, president of Lawn Solutions. We are your locally owned and operated weed control and fertilization company. We are also experts in disease and insect control on your lawn and landscape. Our uniformed technicians are full-time, year-round licensed and certified by the state of Tennessee. Lawn Solutions' personalized service is far more superior to that of national companies that promise but simply cannot deliver. We return phone calls, we keep appointments, and we want your business. What we will not do is bother you with endless phone calls or junk mail. Lawn Solutions will not sell you something your lawn doesn't need. If you're looking for a local lawn care company to kill your weeds and feed your grass, then Lawn Solutions is the finest. Call us at 867-5626. That's 867-5626. Or go online at lawnsolutionsinc.net. From our family to yours, we want to thank you for your business.
Hi, this is Rob Brown. Join us every Saturday morning on Sports 56 WHBQ from 8 to 10 a.m. and 96.1 FM and the new FM 98.5. We'll be covering the Memphis Tigers, the SEC, college football, college basketball, college baseball. We'll look into recruiting. We'll have guests from around the country with the latest news, the most knowledgeable people out there, the coaches, the players, the people who play the games. Don't forget to join us on the sidelines. Sports 56, 96.1, and the new FM 98.5.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in hour number 2 on what has turned out to be a really, really nice Monday afternoon. We are awaiting word to see if the Tigers are going to shuffle around their schedule. I think that could happen next week. They will play Wednesday night against Tulane. The Grizzlies will be playing in Dallas tonight. They're 5-point underdogs in that game. I guess the biggest question is, are they going to even try to field a team to win the game? I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. In the meantime, last time we talked with David Cobb, he was getting away from the snow and the winter. He was down in Florida. Is it nice enough for you to have returned at this point?
Well, from what I understand, it's getting there. But we just decided to make a whole big circle or triangle out of it, I guess. And so we went from Destin over to see my in-laws in Knoxville. So I'm in Knoxville at the moment.
Okay.
Things aren't particularly happy here in terms of basketball.
No.
But the weather is nice. Hoping to get around to golfing before we head back. And hopefully by the time we get back, my apartment downtown will have full water pressure.
That's the other bad news of the day.
Good luck.
We should point it out. The boil order remains in effect until further notice, and based on the way that MLGW has put that, basically they're saying to you, David, maybe you ought to stay in Knoxville for a couple of more days. In the meantime, since you brought it up, and rightfully so, here is a real decline in skill and in effort, in defense, in everything. Tennessee falling to a Kentucky team, and I've gone on record saying now that I think John Calipari's got this team's attention, their act together. The SEC is really not that great a league this year. Kentucky is going to win the SEC tournament.
Wait. You really believe that?
I think it could happen. I really do. You see how much better they're playing now. I mean, Kentucky is starting to get it together, and I don't think they're basically a better team at this point than Tennessee, but they just beat them at Thompson Bowling by 15. Now, some of that has to do with the fact that Tennessee had already beaten Kentucky in Rupp, and they took them lightly. But I think you're seeing what usually happens with John Calipari teams. They usually end up getting better at the end of the year.
Yeah, this team is getting a lot better. They just look so much more coherent and cohesive on the offensive end. And, I mean, not too dissimilar from Memphis in terms of why they've been playing better recently. It's not a total mystery. They've actually hit some outside shots. And it just makes a world of difference because, I mean, we thought Memphis was bad at shooting the three ball earlier in the year. Like, Kentucky was one of the worst in the country. And really just at the bottom of the barrel nationally and every metric there. And, you know, now they're at 6 games in a row where they've hit 70 points or more. And, they only got to just right to 70 against Tennessee, but the defense was fantastic. And, the offensive outburst in that first half, I look at that and I see a team that could win an SEC tournament the way that Kentucky played in that first half. I think the trick there would be, can they creep up here the last couple weeks and get one of the 4 double byes? Because, I mean, Florida's right there in that 4th spot right now in the SEC, but I mean, they've only got 7 wins, and that's the same number of wins that Kentucky has. Granted, Florida has played a couple less games, so from a winning percentage standpoint, they're in better shape, but Kentucky does still have a shot at maybe getting one of those double byes, which would be huge in terms of making a path to an SEC championship, more feasible.
David, this week's AP Top 25, of the 25 teams, only 6 have never been to a Final Four. Alabama, the ultimate football school. Creighton, the ultimate basketball, or they are a basketball school. San Diego State, Mizzou, Virginia Tech, and Tennessee. Rick Barnes was supposed to be the guy that ended that. if he didn't end it, well, last year really doesn't count, but in 18, the loss to Loyola, then in 19, a good team this year. If he doesn't end it, can it be done at UT?
Yeah, it can. They continue. I mean, through really dating back to the Pearl era now. Obviously, you had your missteps there with Donnie Tyndall, and that set them back even for the first year or two of Rick's tenure. But the ability to bounce back, and the thing that I've come to realize, having been around Knoxville, as much as I have over the last decade, it really can be a basketball school. And Thompson Bowling Arena, when you've got a Kentucky or a Florida in there, or a ranked opponent, really, it's loud. It is one of the top 10 or 15 venues in college basketball when you get a good opponent in there. And so that's kind of surprised me. And I think that Tennessee in some ways is maybe undervalued as a basketball program, probably because it never has made a Final Four. But Rick has shown that, you don't even have to be a total world beater to get that program back to a decent baseline. And what they're doing this season is no doubt disappointing. I think there are just some chemistry issues, really, because if you flash back to his first couple teams, they were, 3-star guys with chips on their shoulder who came together, were couldn't separate them off the court. They were just joined at the hip in all aspects of life. I don't get that vibe from this team, which is sort of a hodgepodge conglomeration of 3 or 4 different eras, all sort of shoehorned together into one roster, and the chemistry, I think, is just sorely lacking there. But I do believe actually that Tennessee might be a better basketball program, more attractive basketball program than it is a football program at this point. And that's sort of been thrown out there as hyperbole, as the football team has struggled over the last 15 years. But go back to the beginning of the Pearl era and put Tennessee basketball and Tennessee football side by side, and I think you'll see a basketball program has been better for a long time, at least in terms of sustainability and consistency. And, the hurdles are there in football in a way that they aren't in basketball. Because, sure, you're bordering Kentucky, and you're never probably, at least not going to be able to recruit Kentucky consistently. But in terms of your other regional competition in the SEC, there's no reason why Tennessee should take a backseat to anybody in basketball. They're stuck in the middle of the pack and then the lower half of the middle of the pack in football because of some of the recruiting limitations, obviously the sanctions and all that are coming right now. I mean, but I'm not totally convinced that Tennessee basketball is not a more attractive program overall than football right now. And there's no reason why Tennessee shouldn't be a program that can make a Final Four. I just certainly don't think that this team looks like the one that's going to do it.
I think that's spot on. I mean, if we just go by even the smell test, look at going back to the Bruce Pearl team. That was an elite team. The 1-2 at FedEx Forum that Tennessee won that game. That was pretty special. That whole group with Dane Bradshaw, the kid from Memphis, on that team, and all the pieces, JP Prince, all the pieces that they had on that team. That was an elite team. I'm you get to number one. I think you could say it's an elite team. I think the team with Grant Williams and Admiral Schofield and that group, Pons was on that team. That was
2000 with Ron Slay was good.
Okay, I'm just talking about elite teams that I think we would say were elite teams. And this,
they went Sweet 16 with Ron Slay.
Okay, I would say that's a heck of a team. And then I'd say this year to the what were they ranked the highest? 5th? Was that their
they got up
ceiling?
To 6.
6.
They got up to 6.
Okay,
and
6.
then they nosedived. Yeah.
I'd say that's fairly elite. I don't think this team is as good as the one with Schofield and Williams, to be honest with you. But Fulkerson was on that team too, so was Pons.
I don't either, Dave.
I don't think it is, but I think it's still a pretty darn good team. And in all that time period that we are discussing, I'm not sure that you could ever say that Tennessee had an elite football team.
Exactly right. And from a talent standpoint, they're as good as they've been in a long time. They're as good as any Tennessee team has been since, that 1-2 Memphis game that you referenced, because they've got, the veterans there with Pons and Fulkerson who have kind of been a letdown this year. And then you've got the 5-star freshman element of that too. I mean, you look at this roster and it should kind of be in that Baylor Gonzaga mold of a good mix of freshmen, veterans, and transfers. But instead, it just sort of feels like a group that's in its own silos. That this is no excuse because everyone in the country has dealt with it. But I wonder if they just suffered from the lack of ability to build continuity, build chemistry, and figure each other out during the off season, because that was obviously taken away. But that's no excuse because other teams are dealing with that as well, and they just continue to be inconsistent. So, talent wise and on any given game, yeah, they can hang with anybody in the country. But they've just been too inconsistent for me to feel like they've got any shot at making it to the second weekend.
And this is kind of my larger point. Y'all have kind of buttressed. Y'all have kind of made my point. Tennessee, they think of themselves. There was a time they thought of themselves as for sure the number 2 in the SEC. They built Thompson Bowling to match Rupp Arena. That's why they built that massive on-campus basketball playing facility. Stokely was fine, but they wanted to match something like Rupp, so they built TBA. They have thought of themselves through the years as basketball. And here's the point that I'm really driving to. Do you know how insufferable Alabama fans would be if they made it to a Final Four before Tennessee? Because it would go like this. We've been good in football, and we don't even really care about basketball, and we've been to the promised land before y'all have.
I don't know if the world is ready for Alabama to be a dual champion. That would be something else. But I mean, they keep plugging away, man. They're legit, and I think Nate Oates is going to usher in a renaissance of basketball in the SEC. I really do, because I think there's a lot of old school mentality in this league right now. Same with the ACC, and they're getting outpaced right now by teams like Alabama and teams in the Big 12 that are playing a new up-tempo kind of style now. And the Big 10 obviously I think is king of the crop in college basketball right now. But I think Nate Oates is going to revolutionize the way that basketball is played in the SEC, because much like I don't even know who you want to credit, maybe Urban Meyer with an offense renaissance, Steve Spurrier, however far back you want to trace it. But right now we're seeing a lot of teams that are changing the way they play offense in the SEC football landscape. And I think we're on the cusp of seeing something similar in basketball, because Oates is proving that the offensive efficiency model of three-pointers and layups exclusively is really good. And if you can convince a team that's good at those two things to also play a little defense, it's a great formula. It's a great formula. And I think some of these old school coaches that we're seeing kind of struggle a little bit right now, Calipari included, Ben Howland, Rick Barnes, the list goes on. They're going to, I think, have to either change the way they play, or they're going to get replaced by some younger blood.
Well, I don't know that it's revolutionary. You can go back to Nolan Richardson, and he upped the pace and he pressed a lot, and he thought threes were important. Heck, even that Tennessee team we were talking about, and what about Rick Pitino at Kentucky? For sure. So I don't think it's revolutionary, and I do think it's great in the regular season. I can't wait to see it tested when play gets a little bit more physical, calls aren't made quite as quickly, and we get to a tournament with good teams that can handle pressure and things of that nature. If Alabama is just having a tough night, they don't have a chance.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I think their defense is good enough to keep them in almost any game. I mean, even the games that they've lost this year, which aren't many, they've been right there in it, because their defense is that good. And so when you play defense as well, I think of Iowa as that team that's so feast or famine that if the shot's not falling, they're done for. Because you got Garza down there on autopilot in the paint, probably going to be the national player of the year, but what makes or breaks Iowa is whether all those guys around him are keeping the defense honest and knocking down outside shots. Iowa's a perfect example of a team that I think will wilt if they get dragged into a knockdown, drag-out sort of fight where the three ball's not falling. Alabama, I think, will be there in the last couple of minutes of a game like that. Now, do they come out on the right side of it? I don't know, but I feel Alabama is the team that I've got penciled in, for the second weekend right now out of the SEC. I mean, and there's nobody else who I would say that about right now.
Really? That's it? You don't think Arkansas could get to the second weekend?
I do. I mean, I just, I can't say that with absolute certainty. I mean, they are coming on strong. The problem for me with Arkansas is, they just didn't really get any good non-conference games in. And I don't know if that's a COVID thing or if that was really the schedule that Musselman drew up for them. But I mean, there was nobody on that non-conference schedule, and that's why they've just now started kind of entering the polls. But I do love Arkansas because it just makes sense why they're gelling right now. It's a totally new team, a totally new roster, ton of transfers and freshmen playing key roles. And Eric Musselman's done a fantastic job. I mean, I said last week that, he's tied for first or 1B right now with Nate Oates in the race for Coach of the Year in my mind, and I'll stick by that because they just keep winning.
Who's your player of the year then?
David, yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. That's tough, because Alabama's got too many to pick from, to be honest.
They do. And look, you look at Alabama, they have nobody really up there statistically in scoring. It's so evenly distributed.
Yeah, they absolutely do. Javon Quinterly is a guy who can have a huge impact on the game, but, he doesn't even necessarily lead them in scoring on a regular basis. So, some people would advocate.
Might be Moses Moody.
Yeah, he's good. Moses Moody and Cam Thomas, two freshmen out of the SEC, have been absolutely phenomenal and have perennially been in our weekly rankings of the top 10 freshmen in the country. I think they've both been in it, for like 8 or 9 weeks straight now. So the SEC's got some talented freshmen, and surprisingly, the top two don't play for Kentucky.
Could this year's Loyola be Loyola?
Yeah, but they're not sneaking up on anybody this time. I mean, I feel like their at-large candidacy is pretty well cemented, and they could absolutely be that. Beyond that, honestly, it's kind of a usual cast of suspects from the mid-major ranks. You look at Belmont as a team that
Drake took a big hit today.
Yeah, Drake's got to, I think, maybe win the Missouri Valley to get in, win that tournament. So.
I'm not sure Drake really ever belonged there. They didn't play anybody, and Loyola beat them by 30 on their own floor.
And now the point guard hurt.
And
their best player's hurt now.
Yeah.
So they're kind of done for, I think. I know this team doesn't really count anymore because they're obviously in the AAC and play a more national schedule, but I'm impressed with what Wichita State has done to come on strong and beat Houston the other night. That's a team that most people just sort of left for dead after the Greg Marshall stuff, who they've still got work to do to cement an at-large bid, but if they were somehow to squeak in, I mean, they're peaking at the right time, which is what you look for when you look for a sleeper team in the NCAA tournament.
Well, I was looking at your website and the bracketology of Jerry Palm, and speaking of Loyola and Arkansas, they are scheduled to play. Arkansas 6 seed, Loyola an 11 seed. You mentioned Wichita State. They're actually the second team, at least CBS has them in. I know Mike DeCourcy did not, but they're an 11 seed in the Palm bracketology in Houston. I'm surprised Houston is still a 3 seed by Jerry Palm that they are. But at least the Americans getting 2 in on some bracketology now.
Yeah, that's huge. It's also wild because at the moment, Memphis is a solid 7 spots ahead, I think, of Wichita State in the net ranking. And so, I mean, that just goes to show you people like Palm are putting a lot of weight on beating Houston. And I think that picked Wichita State's net ranking up by about 10 spots winning that game. And I hate to put so much emphasis on that game for Memphis because it's kind of unfair with how well they've been playing recently and the struggles they've gone through with the extended pause now. But if you somehow get that game, assuming it's played there, what is it, March 7th, regular season finale at home?
Yes, at home at 11 o'clock on a Sunday. There could very possibly be another game with Houston that would be played before that game with Memphis at Memphis. I think there's a chance at that. We'll have to wait and see. I think that might be the only makeup game. So,
hey, that would be great. If you could get them twice, it doesn't matter if you I mean, you're not going to be hurt by losing to Houston. They're a quad one team. They're so highly ranked that, it's not really going to ding up your resume too much. And if you get 2 cracks at them, all the better because, if you win one of them, and go 1-1 and split that series, it's a tremendous boost to your resume.
What could happen here? I just thought of this. Long runs by Kentucky, maybe they don't win that tournament, lose in the final to Alabama or semifinals to Tennessee, get enough W's here, go to the NIT and play the Tigers in the NIT.
Ooh, I like that. That's a fun thought. That's one you want fans in the building for. You want $18,000 in FedEx Forum for that one though.
Yeah. No, you want to make the NCAA.
But Penny Hardaway today was really kind of non-committal about going to the NIT, Dave.
Well, I feel like for teams it's going to be a tough decision after the COVID year, and looking at extending it out longer than it's got to go. I'm not saying that teams won't do it, but I'm sure there will be some conversations about that.
Well, he clearly is settling in on trying to get to the NCAA tournament. He thinks he's got this team in the right place to do it. I mean, they were playing their best basketball until they got paused. And will they have a reaction to the pause like Michigan, or will they be like St. Louis? I don't know. I do know this. He said today on his show that'll air tonight at 6:30 on ABC 24, he said all the injuries they've had, and they were banged up. Lomax was banged up. DeAndre Williams had a bad back. There was an Achilles issue with Quinones. A couple of other guys had some bruises. He says they're healthy now. So, we'll see what they can do. What would it take for them if they let's say they beat Houston one time and they win 3 other games, because I think that's all that's left. That's USF,
right,
Tulane, and Cincinnati.
Win them all.
Do they? They have to win them all. How many wins have they got to get in the tournament? I guess it depends on what Wichita State does, right?
Yeah, and it depends, who you get matched up with in that tournament. I like their chances. And Paul might dispute me on this, and he's the expert. But if you take care of business against Tulane, Cincinnati, USF, and then go 1-1 against Houston, I mean, you're already talking about a team that's sitting there at 61 in the net. And if you get a win over Houston and it does anything to your resume like what it did for Wichita State, you're talking about bumping up 7 or 8 spots probably just on that game. And now all of a sudden you're right there in the 50, 51, 52 range in the net. You're legitimately on the bubble probably at that point in the eyes of most. And you're looking at a team too that, again, playing its best basketball at the right time of the year. And I don't know if the committee looks at that, if they care. I think they should, to a certain degree, factor that in. But, we were talking 3 or 4 weeks ago on here about, well, if Memphis wins 10 out of 12 or something down the stretch, could they save it? And yes, and that would be kind of the position they would be in if they closed 4-1.
Yeah.
Because they're at, I think, 6 out of 7 right now, or 7 out of 8. And so, you add a 4-1 finish to that, and I don't see how you can look at all those W's from mid-January through early March and say, that's not an NCAA tournament team. But you definitely can't lose in the first round of your conference tournament if you're a bubble team. I mean, that's obviously something you can't afford to do. So in reality, I mean, you're looking at needing to go at least 5-2 or 6-2, assuming you do eventually lose in the conference tournament. But if this team is anything like what they were going into the break, then that's doable. And I did a story last week looking at how teams have fared when they've come back from a break of 14 days or longer between games. Because I think early on in the season, we just sort of assumed that was going to be a back-breaking thing for teams to endure. But that's not necessarily been the case. In fact, teams from the major 7 conferences in college basketball, they had a winning record, and they have a winning record in those games this year when they've played for the first time in 2 weeks or longer. And the good teams have especially thrived in those circumstances. And so we might be about to find out if Memphis is truly a good team, because the top tier teams and even some of the teams that are more towards the bottom of the top 25 have really thrived. And then you got teams like Louisville who are on an extended pause, and then on Saturday they come out and just get absolutely smacked by North Carolina. So if Memphis is a good team, this shouldn't hurt them too much, because like you said, maybe they've had time to get right with some injuries, and they were playing well before. And teams that have been playing well and teams that are good have not been adversely affected like you might think by these sorts of things.
We will get our first glimpse on Wednesday evening, my friend. Safe travels on your way back. I hope you get your game of golf in. Is it warm enough in Knoxville to do that?
It is. It's not bad. It's weird. It's like there was a wall built around Crossville, and the winter weather never came beyond that. So it's been nice.
Wow. That's wild. Well, thank you for your time. We appreciate it. We'll do it again next week.
All right, guys. Thanks.
That is David Cobb from CBS, and he's brought to you by our title sponsor. That would be Homer Skelton Hyundai in Olive Branch. That's also including the great Genesis of Olive Branch. People see, and this is the truth, they see my G70, they go, wow, what a great car. And I go, yeah, it really is. I mean, I put that thing in sport mode, and I get performance like I've never had before. The one thing they did tell me was that they would not be responsible for any speeding tickets that I have. And when I blew by Brett Norsworthy a couple of months ago on our way from commissary, he would tell you I was a blur. These cars are great. They've got G70s. They've got G80s. They got G90s on the lot. They don't have the GV80. That's the new SUV, but they will. They just can't keep them on the lot. They have a demo so you can see it. You can test drive it. In fact, if you call Vinny Gerard, 662-890-6684, that's the direct number for Vinny Gerard. He will bring the car to you if you're serious about driving it and you really want to take a good, long, hard look. They are really good at what they do. Number 1 in the district a couple of months ago, number 10 in the region, top 10, top 50 in the country. They're doing so many things right. It starts with the way they will give you service. Every new car gets a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package. They want to take care of that car. And, of course, they're durable. Every car gets a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Go see what I'm talking about. Go see this team. They've been together for 13 years, most of them all led by Chris True. Just get on Lamar into Mississippi. You turn left at the very first exit, Craft Road, and you will have arrived. That's the way car business should be done. You will have arrived at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We take a quick timeout, and when we return, we will chat with Clayton Collier, an AP voter from ABC 24 and CW30. I'll be curious to see where he has his top grouping. That comes your way in a minute.
Listen online anywhere, anytime at sports56whbq.com.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. 2 Memphis locations, 1 in Midtown
on Hollywood Street across from the Liberty Bowl,
and 1 in Cordova
off Germantown Parkway next to the Fox and Hound.
Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass.
Hi, I'm Tito Beveridge, founder and master distiller at Tito's Handmade Vodka. In 1997, I started the first micro distillery in the state of Texas with my dog, Dog Joe, at my side. We're still working with dogs out at the distillery after all these years. Learn more about how dogs are a part of life here at Tito's Handmade Vodka at vodkafordogpeople.com. Tito's Handmade Vodka is made from corn and naturally gluten-free. Cheers. 80 proof Tito's Handmade Vodka, distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. Tito'sVodka.com.
Okay, set it down over there and then go to Bay 5.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
We need to keep going to finish.
Like Amir's warehouse. To expand capacity, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
I want to do some bragging rights. Hey, I was just the other day overhearing a conversation with Big Mike, the manager of DeSoto Auto Sales. They've got people buying cars all over the country. North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas. People from all over the country buy cars at DeSoto Auto Sales in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Why? DeSoto Auto Sales has the most stringent car inspection in America. They get it right the first time. Quality and low mileage, factory warranty on most vehicles. My favorite part is the people who work there. Big Mike, all the employees are professional, friendly, and go that extra mile. Expect as you walk in the door, you are treated like family. DeSoto Auto Sales understands your time matters. We can help you find your dream car and get all the paperwork finished in less than an hour. Come see us at DeSoto Auto Sales and be part of our family. Have a great buying experience every time. 662-890-7184.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Halfway through our resumption week, at least for the U of M, Dallas and the Grizzlies tonight. Clayton Collier, who is an AP voter, is going to join us here in just a minute. I actually saw a piece that Clayton did, I think it was over the weekend at some point. He was sort of giving a synopsis of the weekend, and I noticed that perfect coif. I mean, the man looked like $1 million, and I thought to myself, that looked like a Supercuts haircut for sure. And he knows. He's smart. He knows there's 15 of them owned by the Czech family, and he knows they're still open and they still have the safe salon commitment in place. What is that, you may ask? Well, you can learn by going to supercuts.com, or take my word for it. This was a commitment they made, and it was really with a partnership of top infectious disease doctors. They wanted to maximize safety and sanitization as all the salons. They got the proper distancing on all of the chairs. Everything is spick and span, and you'll still look good, just like Clayton Collier. If you go to supercuts.com, you'll find the location nearest to you, and then you too can look just like him. Clayton Collier, who also does the voting for this area from AP. So you've seen the top 25. Is yours exactly like the final poll? Good afternoon, Clayton.
Hey, Wolo, how are you?
Good.
I was going to say, I'm curious what your hair looks like in the middle of all the pandemic, but I guess I can find out at 6:30 on Local 24 with the Coach's Show. How about that? I'm on for 20 seconds.
That's the beautiful, beautiful promo. Love
Nice
it.
job.
There we go.
My AP poll looked somewhat like it. I think there was one or two slots that are different overall, but it wasn't too far off. I faded the Big Ten a little bit towards as it went down a bit more than I have in previous weeks, because Wisconsin and Purdue, both just barely above 500 in Big Ten play is, impressive in its own right. But there's a crowded group there in that 20 to frankly 35 range in terms of, who I'd consider putting into the top 25. So I ended up putting Oregon in because they knocked off Colorado, which is not an easy team to beat. They've been in my top 25 this week. This year, not this week because they lost. But Belmont was in there where they're just outside of the top 25 still. They're 24-1. I think they're definitely worthy of inclusion. San Diego State, I almost put in. I barely kept Tennessee in there, which I was tossing back and forth on if I was going to drop them or not, because frankly, getting blown out at home to Kentucky is not a good look this year. It might have been previous years, definitely not this time around. So, I dropped Wisconsin and I almost dropped Tennessee with them, but I decided to leave them in this week. 2 wins on the road this week may keep them in. It may not, because like I said, it is so crowded in that area. There's not a bunch of separation like there is the top 4 this year, when you have Gonzaga, Baylor, Ohio State, and Michigan.
Clayton, I get the feeling, though, from knowing you don't care if yours resembles how it finally shook out, that you're putting in the diligence and you're voting your heart and art and science and math and numbers, and that you're not that concerned if it's copy and paste with the end result.
My web browser usually crashes about twice in the course of Sunday into Monday morning with the amount of tabs I have open, checking schedules, checking game results, and different, I'll have net ranking up. I'll have everything that I throw all in there. But you can't just go by one metric either, because, which I've seen, there's some voters that do that as well, that weigh heavily on one metric over another, or, even simply average several of them. If I went just by net ranking, Colgate would be number 11 in the country, just because they're 10-1. But
and you know better than that.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to balance everything that ends up in there. And I think everybody has their own way that they do it, and more often than not, that's why you have 65 voters, because you end up with, or 64 voters, you end up with an average, which overall, I'm okay with what's on there. I think that, like I said, I think Belmont should probably be in there. I think Oregon, I voted for them to be in there. I voted for LSU because at this point, LSU is better than Missouri and Tennessee in terms of overall record, and Missouri and Tennessee are ranked 24 and 25, and LSU is on the outside looking in.
Right, and so is Belmont, but just barely. They would be 27th. I'm curious, 60 voters voted for Gonzaga, 4 voted for Baylor. I honestly, if I had this assignment, I don't know how I would determine who's 1, who's 2. They're both incredible, I think. How did you go?
Baylor has the edge in terms of the fact that they're in, a much tougher conference. To be playing in, to be undefeated in Big 12 play is no slouch. But I mean, in this week in particular, Baylor was on pause, and Gonzaga wasn't. But I haven't ranked Baylor over Gonzaga since my preseason poll. So there hasn't been something that really moves the needle that far away. I mean, Gonzaga's, you could make the argument that one versus the other, but just with what they've been able to do and the non-conference slate they put together, they insulated themselves well coming into this, and they've run away with the West Coast Conference as they have every year.
Clayton, you called a little bit. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. And Baylor also, being on this pause, they're now, they've already proven themselves, but they definitely are in a position where they need to reassert themselves and, like the Tigers, try to make sure that they can get themselves going again here, going into the conference tournament week, going into the NCAA tournament.
You caught a little bit of a break this year with your voting duties here locally and a little bit nationally, in that the break locally, the Tigers, it's been no justification to vote for them, or your poll attacks, your Twitter would be lit up with, how dare you have us 19th, we're really 17th, but you caught it nationally with the cult of Big Blue Nation, because Kentucky, they always go after every voter. How dare you vote us 3 when we're really 2?
There wasn't too much of that for some reason this year. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, watch out, because here they come now.
Yeah.
They think. They're 8-13.
Yeah. I haven't gotten too much of it. There's some of the local, or some of the smaller conference teams will definitely have people that pay attention to it probably a little more than some of the larger markets that will be checking to see who's voting, who isn't. There's definitely some passionate St. Louis fans that I remember from this year, but it's just a matter of really looking at what you have out there. There's not a perfect science to making a top 25, which I've come to learn this year. And it's just, I think it's a matter of just seeing what people have done in the previous week, and then making sure that you're reevaluating the overall resume each week as well, because, chances are there's something that maybe you overlooked in previous weeks as well, and not being too stringent in what you've done in the previous week. I may have put Florida a little too high one week, or, put somebody too low. If I was setting my ways, I had Gonzaga preseason number 3 sandwiched, with Villanova at 2 and Baylor at 1. I'd probably be getting a lot of mentions if I kept it that way, throughout the year.
Well, I think it's fascinating the way you do it. You do it the right way, where you're looking at schedules and head-to-heads, and you're relying on some of the net, and that's what the NCAA tournament is going to rely, I think, a lot on that net ranking. What is your take of it? Do you think, you already said we know there's a flaw. When a Colgate team is 11 in the net, it's because they're 10-1 and they beat up on teams that everybody would beat up on. So we see that there is a flaw to this. What is your take on that net?
like I said, I think what's also difficult this year is just in terms of overall evaluation. I think this is just an anomaly because you have teams like, say at Colgate that they're 11-1, so that they've played 12 games, and then you have, Gonzaga that's played 22, and you have Alabama that's played 23, and you have Virginia that's played 20, and Villanova that's played 17. So it's, it is all over the place a little bit in terms of numbers, because how do you compare somebody that was, 3-3 in quad one wins versus somebody that, 4-4, 4-5 essentially, that, we're seeing there's that discrepancy every year, but there's so much more of it this time around that it's just trying to really evaluate how people have performed in the games that they have been able to play, which, there isn't, those metrics are in place, but I think it also is thrown off a little bit off balance with the way that we've seen these pauses happen this year.
Clayton, we head into March 1st, and were you at the Coach Hardaway availability today?
I was.
Yeah, and so we head into March 1st, and he was a little less than enthusiastic about NIT conversation and the possibility there. But my larger point is this is at least the 6th year in a row, 3 Penny Hardaway years, both Tubby Smith years, and the last year of Josh Pastner. So for 6 years, heading into March 1st, way too much scanning the interwebs for me for NIT bracketology.
Even for Memphis or just overall?
Yes, for Memphis.
Yeah, I mean, it is, but, I remember, and I remember saying this at one of the games to somebody, back when James Wiseman left the program, I remember saying, I was anchoring that night, and I remember saying, short of an NCAA tournament championship with this team, the only thing we'll talk about with this season is what if and what could have been. And that was back in November of 2019. And I was wrong, because the only other thing that could have happened would have been a pandemic that ended the season, because now nobody's talking about what could have happened with James Wiseman on that team, because we already know nothing would have happened because there would have been a pandemic in there. So, that happened last year. This year, everything has been so rocky. In year 3 with a standard is as high as there is at Memphis, yeah, sure. You could make that argument as well, but I think there's just been so much that's gone on in the last couple of years that it is a little bit of an anomaly. And not to mention, they did make that NIT the first year ending that postseason drought for Memphis was, a great first step. But hey, they were starting to hit their stride, winning 6 of 7. And, that was some of the best basketball I've seen Penny Hardaway's team play here at Memphis since I've been here. Probably the best. I was here also for Tubby's last year. I'd say they've been playing about as well as I've seen a Memphis basketball team play. So, if they can recapture that, can they get over the hump and try to make it into the tournament? I'll be interested to see. But, I don't blame Penny for saying that they're not sure if they'd go for an NIT bid this year with the way that things are. I mean, is it worth risking another outbreak over, something that is not the NCAA tournament?
Well, that is speaking as a guy who's just recovered from it. I know he did not have it, by the way, but he had plenty of people on his staff and on his team that did get it. And so, you're coming right out of that when you ask him about the NIT today, and he's still focused on making the NCAA. So I'm not surprised at those words, but if Memphis were to make a run and not get all the way there, and this team is still playing pretty well, and you got a chance to go to New York and get more exposure, I wonder if you change your mind. But, then again, the point about COVID and what he's just been through, I'm sure he does not want that sort of possibility to arise again.
Yeah, and I don't think that going to New York and exposure is the best way to phrase it, Wolo, but
true,
I understand your point.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, I didn't mean COVID exposure. I meant publicity exposure.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend. We
from
appreciate
a good New Yorker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd go
Thank
back.
you, Clayton.
You would love to go to New York for that. I know you would.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a bed to sleep in out there.
Yeah. Thank you. We appreciate it. Keep up the good job on voting. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good one, guys.
That
Bye.
is Clayton Collier from ABC 24 and CW30. We take a break. Back with a wrap of this second hour in just a minute.
Get your fill of sports for lunch every weekday on Sports 56 middays with Greg and Eli. The latest sports talk, sought after guests, your calls and texts, prize giveaways, and more every weekday from 10 to 1 on Sports 56.
It may be cold outside, but your deals keep getting hotter and hotter, Jeff. Hey, let's conquer the cold and gear up for winter with the Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah President's Day sales event.
We got you covered, Randy. Let's talk. 2021 Kia Forte, $133 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, redesigned inside and out, $149 a month lease. And a 2021 Kia K5, $182 a month lease. All just 36 months, $31.49 due at signing.
That's what I'm talking about, Jeff. Plus, every Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah comes with Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
All 36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, $650 acquisition fee, Forte, ME3 19,038, MSRP $20,625, sold M7755 638, MSRP $20,660, K5 MG 005560, MSRP $25,725, include all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax filing license, with approved credit, see dealer for complete details, offer valid through 3/1/21, dealer stock only.
Need to sell your home? You're in luck because I buy houses. All you have to do is call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pin, 901-406-1101, or just save it in your phone. Bill at I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses buys houses in any area, in any condition, at any time. As simple as that. I Buy Houses is guaranteed to close in 5 days. So if you need your cash fast, just call Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. Has your house been on the market? Were you just tired of renters? Or is it just time to start over? Well, avoid repairing, cleaning, painting, and prepping your house. Just pick up the phone and call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses. If you're in Southwind, South Memphis, North Mississippi, North Memphis, Collierville, if you can hear this, just call my friend Bill at I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkham for Sunrise Buick GMC Truck. What a great time to buy a newer used car or truck and save money at Sunrise. The largest selection in over a year, over 900 new Buicks and GMCs to choose from, a $6 million used car inventory. See them all at sunrisememphis.com. Factory rebates up to $62.50 and Sunrise discounts high as $10,000. Immediate financing available with interest low as 0% on select models. Cars and trucks under $10,000. When it comes to selection and savings, it doesn't get any better than this, partner. Come on in and save some money at Sunrise, Covington Pike, Wolf Chase, and Collierville.
It's time, Memphis. Tune in to Fox Sports Southeast and watch your next-gen Grizzlies tonight at 7:30 p.m. when they take on the Dallas Mavericks, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook. Check out Grizzlies.com for more information.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back in as we get set top of the hour to get back to college basketball. There was an NBA story today where the Minnesota Timberwolves fired their coach Ryan Saunders today, and they've hired an assistant coach off the bench of the Toronto Raptors, Chris Finch, who has a history with the guy who's the GM now of the Timberwolves. So Saunders' team had the worst record in the whole league, 7-24, and they gave up on him. Here's the question I got, Brett, and it's not the first time this has happened because actually Memphis hired Lionel Hollins off the Milwaukee bench, right?
Good recall.
But it always makes me wonder, like, this guy knows all the strategy that Toronto has. Now, granted, they're not in the same conference. I get that. But, I mean, they may play each other. They could play each other. They're not going to play in the playoffs this year. Obviously, Minnesota's not going to make it. And Toronto's not exactly killing it again either. But it would seem to me you have all their intellectual property. How in the world is that fair?
It doesn't feel very, very, very cool, does it? And
No.
you know there had to be back channel communications going on, and we know if players do that, we know that is collusion, that is tampering, and I just thought it was kind of a not real cool look to be courting someone else off another staff, while poor Ryan Saunders is going to the arena every night thinking he's the coach. I mean, that guy's moving in practically before you're even told. And for Ryan Saunders, he was hired. They gave him a chance because his dad, the late Flip Saunders, Minneapolis legend. I mean, both with the T-Wolves, but also with the Gophers on some great Gopher teams. And they gave him his chance, and it didn't work out. And now that moves Taylor Jenkins into 19th in seniority with current team.
Wow.
He's got 11 guys behind him.
Your lifespan.
And he's been here 10 minutes.
I know, your lifespan is short unless you win. If you win, you can hang around a while, though. That is for sure. So
who's on the hot seat now? Scott Brooks in Washington, maybe?
I tell you, I saw a story today. Scott Brooks could, but Luke
Don't
Walton.
say Bud.
No, Luke Walton.
Luke Walton was lucky to escape the allegations. I guess refuted. They kept him as the coach, but Sacramento's always changing coaches. They're always changing something.
Yeah. So I guess
that would move Taylor Jenkins up a peg.
And well, the history of Sacramento would tell you that what Luke is there almost 2 years now, right?
He was hired April 13th, 2019.
Yeah. So he's 2 months shy of that 2-year longevity.
2 years.
That's about all they got. That's about all that lasts in that place.
Dwayne Casey in Detroit could be fragile. They were terrible Friday.
Oh, they were.
They are bad.
Yeah. Well, and there's another case, of one of those things that I just don't get. And it goes back to something I said last week. The NBA is clearly a players' league. It is not a fans' league.
Clearly.
And here is Detroit, a terrible team, and they're just sitting their best player so they can move him. Why can't you play him? I guess you're that worried you're going to get injured? I mean, Blake Griffin is sitting on the bench. How many games now? Waiting to be moved.
And it's a while before the trade deadline, as Keith Smith told us. I mean, we have in our mind kind of the old marker for the trade deadline,
right.
But I think it's the next to last Thursday in March. I think it's Thursday the 25th. Does that sound right? Of March?
Yeah,
yes, that is right.
That sounds right. That's right. Not too far.
You'll hear an astounding number.
Yeah, sure.
Since sports gambling was legalized in Tennessee, and it started November 1st, so November, December, and January, the numbers are in.
3 months.
The state of Tennessee, $520 million wagered, $210 million last month.
So you're telling me already in 3 months, $500 million have been wagered on sports?
Yes.
Man.
So if the state were just getting the 10% juice like the man, it'd be pretty good for whatever it's going to bankroll. There's never enough money.
No,
whether it's the lottery, whether it's toll roads, whether it's sports gambling, whether it's taxing. I mean, there's never enough money.
They're not getting the juice, but they are getting a percentage. They getting 7% sales tax, or what is the percentage? They're getting something.
I don't know what their take is, and that's what it is. It's a take.
It is. It is absolutely a take. Oh, and I don't know if you heard Jim Nantz and Tiger Woods yesterday at the Genesis.
I did, every second.
But
doesn't sound good.
Boy, it sure doesn't sound like Tiger's going to be around. And he didn't seem too bothered by it either.
Why would he be? He'll have to go there and eat again. He doesn't even have to host this year. He just gets to go eat like he did for a few years.
Right. Yeah. No, he's going to be there Tuesday for the Champions Dinner. I wouldn't miss out on that and go hang out with everybody. I think he'd want to do that. But
he did those other years he was hurt because he scoffed it. He said, "Heck, the last few years all I do is come here and eat."
Well, he did, and that's because he really wanted to play. I'm beginning to think that win.
He showed him. He showed him he could do it one more time.
He that was for his kids to show them what Tiger Mania was really like. And
it was something.
I don't know that he had the hunger after that. Now, he did have a couple of really nice performances post that. But once this injury came, I don't – I think it's more important, and I don't blame him for this at all. I mean, he wants to be able to function so he can go out there and shoot a basketball with his son. And
watch Charlie break all his records.
Exactly. And so I think basically health is the key thing, and he's not going to commit to anything, and he sure did not commit to Jim Nantz about trying to get to Augusta by April. That is for sure. That is 2 hours in the books. This final portion of hour number 2 brought to you by the commissary. I mentioned the commissary when I blew by you, Brett, on Bill Morris Parkway several months ago. I can't wait for our lunch soon. I know it's coming. I just can't wait to get back to Germantown Commissary, which, I'll be frank with you. I'm going to have to call during the break to Walker Taylor just to see how they are doing with the boil water order in effect. But as soon as we're back to normal, folks, this is the best, most consistent barbecue you will find. The ribs, the shoulder, the cheese plate, the tamales. Don't forget, they're the ones that came up with the nachos. We know that for a fact. You'll love everything about both of the commissaries. The drive-thru makes it so easy right there at Houston Levee Road and Poplar Avenue in Collierville. But then again, curbside pickup, if you like, in Germantown. They do it all the right way, and the key for me is consistency. I promise you, I have never had anything short of a great meal when I have gone to the commissary, and I know everybody that I've ever taken with me has said the same things, from those deviled eggs they're famous for to just the sauce itself. Everything is terrific at the commissary. That is 2 hours in the books. When we come back, Blake Lovell will join us. More on college basketball right around the corner.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. With everyone spending more time at home these days, are you running out of hot water? Did you know the average life of a tanked water heater is only 10 to 12 years? It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. And the average life of a tankless water heater is up to 20 years. So call Conway Services right now and get your new tankless water heater for as low as $79 per month. Or I'll give you $250 for that old tanked water heater. That's right, get your new tankless water heaters for as low as $79 per month. Now you could do that. These energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. So go ahead, take a 1-hour shower while the dishwasher's running. You'll never run out of hot water. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
What do you want a da-da-da? What do you want a da-da-da? I have no idea what a da-da-da. We could switch to Progressive da. Oh yeah? We could switch to Progressive and sa. Okay. We could sa and have to buy some za. Oh yeah, let's switch to Progressive da and get some za with the money we saw. Yeah! Now we know we're gonna da-da-da.
These days, nothing is normal and everything is weird. But you could still save big when you switch to Progressive. It might just be the most normal thing you da-da-da.
Quote da at Progressive.com.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
The President's Day event is in full swing at Gossett Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram Fiat on the Pike. And we're celebrating with 2020 Dodge Journey SE $19,990 or $249 a month. Or pump up your attitude with a 2021 Jeep Cherokee Latitude $21,740 or $277 a month. Or take your pick, 2020 Ram 1500 Quad Cab Tradesman or 2021 Dodge Challenger XST $339 a month. It's your choice, Ram 1500 or Challenger. We Gossett at $339 a month. So drive past the rest and come to the best. Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat 1901 Covington Pike, or shop online GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
Almost financed through Chrysler, all 3,500 cash down, 75 months at 4.19 APR. Journey LT 296,053, MSRP 26,860. Latitude MD 168,760, MSRP 27,805. 1500 LS 156,730, MSRP 35,185. Challenger MH 581,58, MSRP 31,160. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax on a license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 3/1/21. Dealer stock only.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
2021 is finally here. Might I suggest we start the wonderful new year with a makeover for your beautiful house. I'm Brian Elder. I'm a roofer. I fix roofs. Don't let them tell you that it has to be replaced when all it may need is some love. 867-0303. Let me love on your roof. I've made quite the reputation over the last decade as the guy to call after the insurance company denies the claim. Overturning a claim that has gone bad is an art form where you argue county code, manufacturer specs, and details of your policy that they have to abide by. So let me see it first. If I say it's a claim, it's a claim. 867-0303. Money is free at Brian Elder Roofing with 0% financing for half a decade. I'll measure your roof from outer space and get you a quote right over the phone. 867-0303 or BrianElderRoofing.com.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Best time of the year coming up for college basketball, and really fun time coming up for the NBA. And one of the things I love about betting on basketball at FanDuel is I'm always finding new player props or game props that I love. And what's really fun, a lot of fun at FanDuel Sportsbook, is you can combine these props with other bets from the same game to score an even bigger payout. Money line, point totals, rebounds, assists. It's called a same-game parlay bet, and you can only find them on FanDuel Sports. Just talked about how much fun we've had in the state of Tennessee with sports betting being legal, and it's more fun to do it at FanDuel Sportsbook on their app. Easy to use, easy to register, easy to deposit, easy to find your bet, and when you win, they pay it out fast. It's your money. You've won it fair and square. They get it to you in as little as 24 hours. You can spend any way you want to. Odds boosts and specials every day and some big super boosts each weekend. So download the FanDuel Sportsbook app today and try the same game parlay and use promo code CASH at sign up. That is promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $25. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. Blake Lovell from Blue Ribbon Magazine coming up after I tell you about the title sponsor of this hour, and that's DeSoto Auto Sales at 5704 Goodman Road. They're open, everything just fine, everything clear on Goodman Road. Get down to see the good people at DeSoto Auto Sales. Proud to serve DeSoto County and the surrounding area. Visit their website to check out the happy referrals at DeSotoAutosales.com. All the cars checked out bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model, and no shortcuts taken. They do want you to have the ultimate car experience because they know we live in a world today that time really matters. And that's why, by the kind, courteous staff that they have, you walk in within 45 minutes, test drive that car, our cars, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in less than an hour. 45 minutes to be exact at DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County and see for yourself that town and country experience at DeSoto Auto Sales.
We will let you know that the boil water order is still in effect. I've just been searching to see if any change had been made. And it is still in effect until further notice. So that's the story here. I don't know if the weather hit Nashville like it did here, but we head that way anyway. And our friend from Blue Ribbon Magazine, Blake Lovell, joins us now. 2 questions very, very quickly. How did the snow affect you? 1, 2, explain to me the Tennessee-Kentucky game.
Well, the snow part, yeah, we got a good 6 inches or so here. So nice little couple of snow days, which I don't know if that affected Tennessee's offense or not because they've been having issues all season long, and they just kind of came up again against Kentucky. I'm telling you guys, I didn't believe it before, but Kentucky is playing very, very well right now. And if I am Alabama, I will say this: I would want Kentucky to get as far away from the 8-9 game in the SEC tournament as possible because I don't think I'd want any part of them right now.
That's what Dave said earlier, Blake. He thinks they're the team that could get on a roll in Nashville. I think the season matters, whether it's at the beginning. I know that's a long time ago now, up to now, and over the course of the season, 21 times out. They've only won 8 times. They've been defeated 13 times, and there were a couple of those 13 that they could turn the other way. There are a lot of those 8 that could be turned the other way, but it wasn't one Saturday. They thoroughly dominated Tennessee.
Yeah, they did. I mean, it was it was never close. Like I never at any point felt like Tennessee was going to win the game. So that's a problem for the Vols because that's the kind of game where you're playing a Kentucky team in a year like this. It's been so up and down, so inconsistent, and yet Tennessee just could not find any way to do anything that they wanted in this game. And I think it. And that's what I told someone the other day. I mean, I think this says more about Kentucky than it does about Tennessee because, quite frankly, I think I've just accepted that Tennessee is a team that, you just really can't trust. I don't think we can look at them anymore like we did a couple months ago even. I just think that they're a team that I just don't know how you could trust them in a setting against some of the better teams, some of the teams that can score, even as good as Tennessee defense is. There's no way I can look at them and say, they're going to be able to keep up with some of these top-scoring teams in the country if they play them, like an Iowa, like a Gonzaga, some of these other teams like that. I just don't think they're there. And then meanwhile, Kentucky's starting to – Michigan. I just – it's just one of those things where I don't think that they're to that level, and I don't know that they're going to get there just because maybe we did. Maybe we undervalued the fact that when you're a team like this with high expectations, you really want to have experienced guards in the backcourt, and Tennessee, they just don't have that experience. And I think it kind of shows up and sometimes, and they just can't find a way to score.
Is that what you think has happened here? That Rick Barnes' team has been found out and game planned for, and they've changed, or is Kentucky just getting that much better?
I think it's probably both. I mean, I really do think Kentucky is making a leap here, and I kind of joked about them potentially winning the SEC tournament, but that's not really a joke. Like I think it's certainly a possibility when they play like they did on Saturday. At the same time, I guess, guys. I mean, at the same time, I think for Tennessee, it's just people are starting to realize that there's just not a lot of players on this team that you necessarily have to game plan for. Just completely. I don't know, because you just can't, you don't know who's going to score on any given night. And I think they've gotten to the point to where when you look at kind of what John Fulkerson, his struggles, Pons, I know he scored 10 in that game, but I think most people are starting to realize that those two guys offensively just do not give this team maybe what they really need. And so if you can game plan around Jaden Springer, which Kentucky, holds him to 4 points, you're going to have a really good chance to win because Springer, Keon Johnson, Victor Bailey has started playing well, but really outside of guys like that, you just kind of know what you're getting on Tennessee offensively. And I think people are able to game plan more around that, and they figured it out to where they can hold them down. And that's exactly what Kentucky did.
Blake, a couple of the larger conferences, Big Ten, we've talked a lot about the SEC today, so maybe not that one, but Big Ten, ACC, Big 12. If those 3 leagues, if they're going to win it all, who's the team that's going to win it from the Big Ten, from the ACC, and from the Big 12?
Well, I guess I'll go the easiest first. The Big 12, I think, would be Baylor. I would stick with them. I think they're probably the obvious choice there. The Big 10, that's the tough one because one minute you think it's one minute you think it's the other. I'll tell you, just based on that game, this weekend, yesterday, I think Michigan is as good a bet as anybody. Just the way they play. There's a team that's good offensively, good defensively. They just find a way to win games, whether it's high scoring, whether it's low scoring. Outside of that one just completely bad game, which you're going to have in a 25-plus game setting every season, I think outside that one game, Minnesota, they've been fantastic. So I'd go Baylor, Michigan, and what were we talking about? ACC, was that the other?
Yeah.
Yep.
ACC, oh, boy, there's a tough one. Oh, man.
Real tough. And one team's still the reigning champion.
Yeah. I guess I guess you would have to pick Virginia, but you know what? I don't know. Like, I don't feel confident about anyone in the ACC in that category, to be honest with you.
If I had to pick one, I would go Florida State to just beat Virginia.
I would too, Dave.
And beat them handily. And they can score. I'm not saying Virginia.
I would love it if Leonard Hamilton won it.
It would be a terrific story. And his cohort, Stan Jones, who's a Memphian. I'm okay with Florida State. And, frankly, I think they've got a shot. And they've played a lot of good competition this year. It's not like they've walked into it. I just can't tell with the Big Ten. I look at the Big Ten. I think
last time FSU went to a Final Four, Dave Cowens was the center, wasn't he?
It's a long time ago, that is for sure. But back to the Big Ten for a second. I think Michigan's the best team there, aren't they?
Yeah. I mean, they're at the top, and I think it's, like you said, I mean, you talk about how you just sort of can't tell sometimes, and that's where I think people have a discussion. Well, is it just because the Big Ten is that good? And really, I mean, there are times where, like, I don't know if the entire Big Ten is that good. Certainly not, some of those teams at the bottom are not very good. But if you're talking about those top four teams, I think when you look at it, and you can probably throw, I don't know that I would throw Wisconsin and Purdue in that same category as those other four right now. Just based on maybe looking ahead and saying, okay, how are these teams built? I think Michigan, Ohio State, Illinois, Iowa, I think those are the four that you're really going to have your attention on if you're trying to project ahead and say, okay, I feel like these teams have the best shot against a Gonzaga, against a Baylor, teams like that, because unfortunately, we just assume they're going to be there. And I don't know if that's, a good thing or a bad thing. Some people want to see upsets, but I want to see good teams like that who are still undefeated at this point be in a situation where they can be there. I think those four teams in the Big Ten are the ones that would give them the biggest problem.
I'm spot on with you there. I'm at the bottom end when they say they're going to get 9 or 10 teams in. I mean, I know Wisconsin's a lock to get in, but are they a great team? They're not a team that'll make the Sweet 16, I don't think. Maryland, the same thing. I'm not sure. Rutgers are under 500 in their league.
Minnesota?
And Indiana the same way. Minnesota is 4 games under 500.
4 under?
Yeah, 4 games under 500 in the Big Ten. Now, the Big Ten's a good
and
league.
only 3 over 500 overall.
Period. Yeah. Well, Indiana's only 12-10.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked at Bracket Matrix earlier, and I was doing the math on some of this. Like Rutgers, you talk about them, they're a 7 seed right now, and like you said, they're 1 game under 500 in the Big Ten. Minnesota is an 11 seed right now. They're 4 games under 500 in the Big Ten. So, that's one of those things where I think they're going to get a lot of teams in, and I'm very curious to see kind of where they're stacked up at right now.
Blake, I know you like Shelby Mass. We have Shelby on with us from Bracket Wag.
Yep.
You like Jerry Palm. We all do, and Jerry just a fond of information and Joey Brackets. Bracket Matrix, man. Do you know that? Do you know the people that run that site?
I don't know them, but I've followed it forever. So
same here. I don't know them. They won't let you get to know them. You can't get a hold of them, but you can tell they're just crunching and diving into spreadsheets. I mean, they may even have an abacus set up, diving into it, and it's just the facts. But I love what they do at Bracket Matrix, and I was there for too long a time today. I went way down the rabbit hole.
Well, it's easy to do because, again, and I see this so much on social media stuff, people give Joe Lenardi all this other stuff, and, everybody likes to just hate on the bracketologists whenever they don't rank their teams at a certain place. But if you want to just be able to, if you want to go through the list and just hate on everyone, well, there's about 50-something people on this bracket matrix, or more, I guess, that you could probably go through and just decide, hey, I don't like where they're at on this one. Well, I promise you're probably going to find a different number because it'll take you, like you said, Brad, you could stay on this thing all day and try to crunch all the numbers because there's a lot of different numbers for a lot of different teams.
If you look at all of those, and it comes down to they're trying to predict what the NCAA committee is going to do. That's the whole point of bracketology.
And they want to be right.
Isn't it? Right? Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Which
they're
do
just
you
trying to figure that out.
Which do you think is the person or group that really gets closest, that replicates what the NCAA tournament's going to do? Look, I'm going to tell you right now, tie between Jerry Palm and Joe Lunardi for explaining what they do. They're terrific deliverers of their message and their philosophy. But if I want to get the one that is closest to what the tournament director or a committee is going to do, which one?
Well, that's a big question because luckily Bracket Matrix gives us that answer by giving us who. I guess how they do it is they have, if you go to the top of their site, they
aggregate it.
Yeah, so they aggregate everything. And so what they do is they do it every single season. They take the people who have been doing this for, I don't know, like the guys who've been doing it for 3+ years. So they'll rank them out based on how many teams they got right, and they do these just advanced formulas and metrics and everything. So right now, number one spot is Bracketville, which I think I know him. I don't want to say the name because I don't want to get it wrong, but that is currently the number one spot. So that's number one in terms of their formula and everything they use. That's the person who's been at the top.
Huh. What's it called?
It's called Bracketville. I want to say I know this guy, but I don't. I'd have to look it up. I feel like I know him, but maybe I don't. There's so many bracket guys, I can't keep up sometimes. So
it's a lot out there. We're visiting with Blake Lovell from Blue Ribbon Magazine, and we love doing that. And we're in the home stretch. This is about, when I texted you earlier today, Blake, I mean, this is the home stretch, and I think more anticipated than ever because of what happened last year.
Yeah, it is. I don't know. Like and I think people are interested now. The more we talk about this, in terms of how are they going to set all this up? How are they going to figure out all these little nuances that they're going to need to figure out to play the tournament? But anyway you slice it, I think just the fact that we're looking ahead to conference tournaments, looking ahead to the NCAA tournament. I know, at this point last year we were doing the same thing, but of course things can change pretty quickly. But the games just get more, I don't know, they add that extra element of something. And I think that Michigan-Ohio State game yesterday was a good, kind of proof of that. I think you just get these types of games now, and it just makes it a lot more exciting once you start breaking down the numbers and try to figure out where everybody could land.
Well, and now we know. If this were last year and we had the same knowledge, I'm not sure everything would have been shut down like it was after Rudy Gobert came down with a positive test. But now we know, that team would get isolated. Everybody would get tested around it. And, you might have and this could still happen in Indy, where you might have a forfeiture of a game, but not everybody's going home. And so I think it will be different, but I agree with you. I think it is most anticipated. Who's the dark horse team? Like a Loyola, if we're allowed to throw them out. I think that was already mentioned. But is there a team you really like that we have not talked that much about that could be middle of the pack of a Power Five or somebody
Southern Cal?
That's funny because that's who I was going to put them in that group. I think we kind of where we're at. It's easy for people to sort of ignore the Pac-12 at this point because they've been down. I mean, the conference has been down as a whole for a little while now, and I know that they just lost Arizona on Saturday, but that's a pretty good team at USC, and I think they're one to certainly keep an eye on. That they've got some potential there in terms of what they could do. Elsewhere, I mean, this is going to sound funny, and I'm not. I promise you, and we talked about the team a lot this year. I'm not saying that I think this team is going to make a run to the Final Four or anything like that, but I was having this discussion with someone, and I think it's interesting. LSU has got 4 NBA talents in their starting lineup. And to me, they are so good on offense that I think LSU is capable of beating the majority of the teams in college basketball on any given night. But of course, like we said, the problem is that they just can be really, really bad on defense, and they could give up 100. But they're capable of scoring 101. And so I think LSU is a very interesting team the rest of the way because even if they were to struggle down the stretch here, they've won 3 in a row. But I just cannot turn my attention away from them because they are just so loaded with talent on offense. And I think in a tournament setting, if you go up against a team that has a bad game, struggles from 3, whatever, and you're playing an LSU team that can score in a lot of different ways, that is not the best matchup. So they're a team that I at least am probably going to have a hard time figuring out. But I think because of how much talent they have, they're just one that I'm not going to be able to ignore no matter where they finish the rest of the season.
you make a lot of sense, but I think LSU used up all their karma, all their school luck in the Joe Burrow run, and Will Wade always finds trouble. You know it's coming. At some point during the NCAA tournament month, there's going to be another scathing story about him that will dominate the news and dominate his attention, and it has proven to be a distraction for him through the years.
Yeah, I'll give you that. I think that's something to certainly keep up. But if you want another one, here you go. And I'm staying local for this one. We're going to keep it in the state. There is no one in this country outside of maybe, some of those top teams we talked about that would want to be inviting an opportunity to play Belmont right now. I think they are fantastic. Like, Big Bird had a lot of great Belmont teams there. This is one of the best Belmont teams I've seen. And Casey Alexander, of course, has been there now for a couple seasons, but they are fantastic, and I would want no part of them. They're so efficient in what they do on offense. They play a type of style that I'm telling you, some of these power conference teams do not want to play, and I don't think there's anybody out there that wants to see Belmont in their practice. We've said that before. I know we have, but I think this team, who lost their best player, by the way, transferred to Xavier, yet somehow they're 24-1 right now and haven't lost since December the 5th. They are a team to certainly go ahead and circle right now.
And Blake, are they made up of experienced guys, 3-year, 4-year, 5-year guys?
They're not. That's what's interesting. Is that they are a team that actually has mixed in a lot of sort of new guys with some of the younger guys that they have or some of the older guys they have on the roster. So it's kind of a mixture in terms of what they do. I think, for the most part, that they start a lot of guys that are juniors, but they play some guys too that are younger, and I think it's a rotation where if you just look at the amount of time actually those juniors have played, some of those guys have been behind other guys before, and so the fact is, they've made it work with not having, I don't even think they have a senior on the roster, I want to say, but they've just made it work, and Casey Alexander, I'm going to say it right now, I don't know what jobs open up, but he is someone that I think is going to be at the SEC type level within the next couple of years, because I just think he is one of the rising stars in college basketball in terms of coaching, and so he is someone just to keep an eye on.
Back to LSU for a minute. Here's my only problem with LSU is they tend to give up in games. When they fall behind, that you don't see fight in them. I mean, they lost by 30 at home to Alabama. They lost at Kentucky by 13 or 14.
Yep.
Then at Alabama they lost again by 28. Maybe that's just a bad matchup, but they're a team, it seems to me, that they get discouraged, and when they do, they just sort of throw in the towel.
Yeah, and they're going to have to be flawless on offense to make a run, because they're not going to be the ones that, if it's a one-possession game with 15 seconds left and they've got to make a stop against a good offensive team, you're not going to have the confidence that they're going to be able to do that. So I think, that's another thing. Like I said, they're just on my mind, because every time I watch them, I just think about, look at all this talent. Look at all these guys going to be playing in the NBA in the next year or two. And it's like, can they not figure out a way to play better defense? And they've gotten better on that side of the floor, but they're just not there yet. And so they're just kind of a wild card.
I agree, though. I think they've got as much or maybe more talent than anybody in the league. That is excellent stuff. Thank you, my friend. We appreciate it, Blake. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks.
That is Blake Lovell from
Thank you.
Blue Ribbon Magazine. He's brought to you in part by our good friends at Homer Skelton Hyundai. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. Here's where you've got product and you've got service all wrapped into one, and this is why I think they are now the standard for the way car business should be done. The product's so durable. Look, Hyundai's tied for the safest car in the world last year. Actually, I think it's the last 2 years now. And then these Genesis cars are so good. This is a luxury car that, like that new SUV, that can't even keep them on the lot as soon as they get them. They sell them, and they got another new SUV coming here in a couple of months. It'll be a little bit smaller than the GV80. It'll be the G70. But the durability, I talk about this technology, so good you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty on every new car. That's Hyundai or Genesis. And then they always take it a step further. They're really into service now. You will get a 3-year, 36,000-mile maintenance package complimentary, free. They want to take care of you. This is why this group has been together for 13 years. This is why Certified Pre-Owns, they have been the leader in the market for 14 straight years. You will love, if you get on Lamar and you go into Mississippi, exit 1 Craft Road right there, 10 minutes away. Turn left, go see Chris True and all this gang. You'll understand why I say they have set the standard for the way car business should be done at Homer Skelton Hyundai and Genesis of Olive Branch. We take a break halfway home in hour number 3 of Sports Time on Sports 56.
Sports 56 mornings with Peter Edmiston and Anthony Zane. Weekday mornings from 7 till 10 on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
All 75 months at 3.04%. Mirage MH002682, MSRP 16865, G4 MHF 01572, MSRP 18360, Outlander Sport MU 004915, MSRP 24740. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license with approved credit. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month. Dealer stock only.
Ready, set, start your new year with a new ride from Gossett Mitsubishi on Covington Pike. Get the hatchback hero in 2021 Mirage, $12,342 or $129 a month. 2021 Mitsubishi Mirage G4, 41 mpg highway, $13,997 or $149 a month. And jumpstart your journey in 2021 Outlander Sport, $17,938 or $199 a month. And these are not leases. You own your new ride. Plus, you get Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. That's Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or shop online at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Fiveash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Fiveash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Fiveash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Listen Sundays at 11 a.m. to join Idlewild Presbyterian Church for worship. Idlewild is a PCUSA church located in Midtown Memphis.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallow and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back in. Winding our way through on this Monday, almost a return to normalcy. Apparently, back to that MLGW story on the water boil order. They are making progress, and they're saying keep boiling a little bit longer. I don't think it's going to be maybe as long as they were initially saying today, so I think there is some hope, but what was the analogy the president of MLGW used? It's like somebody in ICU. They're sort of out of danger, but they're not out of ICU yet.
77 repaired water mains.
And more, and still more coming, right? Isn't that part of it?
And I wonder how many total functioning they have, every day. I would say a massive amount. But it was quite an event we had.
Oh, yeah, it was. Well, 10.3 inches of snow, most since 1985. And the longest period from a Wednesday through another Wednesday to a Saturday where the temperature never got above freezing. I don't think – so I've been here since 81. I don't think I've ever seen a period like that. You've been here all your life. Do you remember any sustained period of time under freezing? As long as that?
Not under freezing. The ice storm of 94, it was cold the first few days of it.
Right.
But not as sustained. Now, it was more damaging than this. There are just not that many limbs. Well, I say more damaging. We weren't without water, but without electricity. There were people for 2 weeks that were in hotels. But the all-timers are in my life were 68, 94, a little bit 88, 2000 in this one, but this one's way up there at the top.
Yeah. We do get a texter who reminds us, and we thank you, the boil water rule is not effective. It's not in effect in Collierville or Germantown. Those are only MLGW places in Memphis and that surrounding
so you have
area.
a good feeling about scheduling announcement soon, don't you?
I do.
The Tigers.
I do. In fact, there was a one in place earlier today, and then there's a bit of a holdup. So I think they're going to try like the Dickens to get 2 games between Memphis and Houston. I think that is what their goal is. They haven't been able to accomplish that yet. I think they thought they had it. Apparently there's something that's come up. That is the goal. And, Mike, when we had Mike Oresco on, he was pretty adamant about trying to get the important games still in. One of his caveats was that you would play each team at least once. Well, I don't think that's going to happen for Memphis and Temple. So that is going to go out the window. But I do think there's only going to be one made-up game. So Memphis will only have 5 games left if they are able to get that together. And so they would lose 4 games. So Memphis will play 23 games this year in the regular season. If they were to go 4-1 in these 5 games, that would make them 16 and 7. Of course, it depends on who you beat, right? But if Houston is one of those wins, is that enough with a couple of wins in the tournament to get to the NCAA tourney as an at-large?
Probably not, because then you would be asking for 3 from the AAC, and it feels like it's locked in at 2.
Unless Wichita State were to go down one more time or to lose in the tournament. I mean,
sure.
let's if they're close, if Memphis's net is higher, which I think it is today, or is it?
Yes, it is higher today.
I think it's like 5.
And they pounded them.
And they beat them.
That has to matter.
Right, that has to matter. So, yeah, I guess the point is this. There is still plenty for the University of Memphis to play for. And I will tell you, so I shot that show before Penny went on the Zoom with everybody. So I did not know that information about the NIT until you said it. And I can understand where he's coming from because I really do think he's focused, in the conversations we had, he is still full bore. His team is making the NCAA. Now, if it came up slightly short and they still played well and they're healthy and they get a chance to go to New York, I think he would rethink that, but I'm not 100% positive of it, that's for sure.
Dave, think of all the events that we've dubbed super spreader events. I'm just going to keep it to sports. That we were afraid were the students running on the field after Notre Dame upset Clemson, the party in Tuscaloosa when Alabama won the national championship, right. The party in the streets in Chapel Hill when North Carolina beat Duke. None of those three, in fact, the case rates in Tuscaloosa, it's taken a precipitous dive since that night. I mean, it nowhere near being a super spreader event. One of the sports super spreader events was East Carolina versus Memphis.
Yeah.
At FedEx Forum.
Well, it stopped Memphis, it stopped SMU, and it stopped East Carolina and put everything on pause. So that is a well taken point. I
don't know who was infectious for East Carolina, but boy, he was spreading the bad stuff.
He was.
And couldn't help it. And again, I'm not blaming them, because we know how very fragile it is out there in the testing world. The false positives, the false negatives. You test today, you're negative. You test tomorrow, you're positive. You test again on Thursday, and you're negative. We know that out there. And I'm thinking, of course, good to go. They wouldn't have sent anyone out there in a case of negligence like that, but during that game, it really manifested.
Oh, yeah. I think that's just the risk and the damage that can be done in just every day. I mean, they try to test every day. Penny was talking a little bit about all that, they have had to do each day with testing. That you're always worried as a coach every day because is this done or is another breakout going to happen? You never know.
A loss that keeps really just getting worse, especially with them now having their best player on the team now, and they didn't when the Tigers lost to them because Auburn is just – Auburn's not very good. They're SEC 11. Yeah. And Memphis lost to them without their best player.
Well, Memphis didn't have their best player either. DeAndre Williams did not play in that game. So
you think he's the best player on the Tigers?
If you ask our coaches, they think he is. Yeah, he's the glue. I personally, if you asked me, who I think is their most consistent player this year, is the guy that has accepted a role and sacrificed the most. And that is Lester Quinones. Lester Quinones has become the Antonio Anderson, in my opinion, of this team because he has given up scoring to take the best offensive player from the perimeter every game. He shut down several players, including he just absolutely took Tyson Etienne, who beat Houston by pretty much the other night. He shut him down completely. He also is second or third on the team in assists, second or third on the team in rebounds. And he has sacrificed his own scoring to get everybody involved and to be a big part of this sharing the ball concept that they have. So I would say he's one, and I would tell you I think DeAndre Williams is two, and then you got to throw in the guy that's the scorer and the outside threat, and that's Landers Nolly.
Yeah. I want to, again, remind everyone tonight at All-Star Chevrolet down off of Kraft Goodman Road, open until 7:30 or until the last person is still there shopping the new 2021 Silverados. They're on the lot. They're all loaded up at All-Star Chevrolet. They were ready to kick off this big sale last week. We know what happened, but they still have the hot new trucks. You want a new Silverado? All-Star. They have the new Silverados, new 2020s, the newer 2021, 0 for 72 months available right now on those. You got to know it's a Chevrolet you want. Olive Branch is where you want to be. New 2021 Equinox, Blazers, and third row Traverse. Talk about some deals. Go to allstarautogroup.com and look at all the slightly driven demos, previous loaners, All-Star with dozens of certified pre-owned Chevys, Tahoes, Impalas, Silverados, and everyone at All-Star. One job. Make sure you get the best deal, have a bunch of fun doing it, and do it in record time, and open until 7:30 all week this week. Remember, it's not Mount Moriah, it's not the Pike, it's not South Haven, it's not Collierville. It's got to be Olive Branch. Find new roads to Kraft Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or go online to allstarautogroup.com.
A little bit earlier, we discussed our disgust at some of the lack of passion, lack of really, trying to field a team in the NBA with load management, and taking with minutes restrictions, like the Clippers taking Paul George out the other day with 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go. He's the hottest guy on the team, and they end up losing the game, and they'd already missed Kevin Durant's not playing. Crazy stuff like that, and the Grizz not playing Anderson or Brooks or Clark or Allen. I just baffles both of our minds. But here's a hard one for you to the other extreme. Take Draymond Green. Take a guy who does play to win, plays his heart out, but cannot control his emotions. He cost the Golden State Warriors, with Steph Curry not playing, he cost them a game in Charlotte when they're up 4 with 12 seconds or so to go by, on a very strange call, getting so upset that he got a technical. The shots were made, they got the ball, and they hit a shot at the buzzer to win the game. They're up 4, 12 seconds to go. If he shuts his mouth, they win the game. What do you do when you've got a player that cares that much, though? But how do you get him under control? What do you do if you're Steve Kerr?
He cost him a World's Championship against the Cleveland Cavaliers with the same behavior.
Yeah. Well, this clearly.
Now, he's won him a lot of games, too.
Hell yeah. And they got to have him. But what do you do if you're management? How do you get him to correct this behavior?
Steve Kerr was pretty forceful in his comments.
Well, he was unhappy, but he also made in that statement, we got to have him. I mean, he's too important to this team. I don't know what you do in that particular case. And I admire the passion and how much he cares, but you can't cost your team a game like that, especially with all the injuries they've had and Steph Curry being out the way he was. Just a tough moment to handle, that is for sure. This portion of the show brought to you by Tiger Tail. That's the Grind City Brewing Company's unbelievable art form that is a malt liquor. It's the official craft beer of the University of Memphis. So this incredible brewing company, Grind City, well, they got together. They love Memphis. They want to be involved in everything Memphis. They went to the U of M. They had this idea for a malt liquor that they think is phenomenal, and it is. And it has become the official craft beer of the University of Memphis. Tiger Tail comes in 16-ounce six-packs. It is not your typical malt liquor. If you haven't figured this out, it is bold, smooth flavors, 7.5% alcohol content, and a finish that makes it the easiest drinking beer that I have ever had. I love it. It is definitely not like the malt liquor you're used to. Tiger Tail and Grind City Brewing. They're taking care of beerness in Memphis, and now you can get Tiger Tail in Kroger. We'll pause, and when we come back, it'll be Taco Bell crunch time.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through lunch daily from 10 to 1.
Well, lunch is served.
Only on Sports 56, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. 2 Memphis locations, one in Midtown on Hollywood Street across from the Liberty Bowl, and one in Cordova off Germantown Parkway next to the Fox and Hound. Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
This is a job alert. If you're looking for work, this will interest you. Whether you're looking for full-time, part-time, or even something temporary if you've been recently furloughed, text 107-JOB to 49330. That's 107-JOB to 49330. Office work available now in a clean office environment with all COVID precautions taken. Text 107-JOB to 49330 and someone will be in touch about these job opportunities available now. Text 107-JOB to 49330.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, then we hit fame. We beat you with the deal, we get insane.
Final portion of our Monday. It's brought to you by the Eflin Insurance Team. They are unique in the way they do business. They want to protect you the right way. They want to get to know you. And then when they do, they'll find the right home or auto program that fits your needs, your budget. They got 10 leading companies they will match you with. Same thing with life insurance there. They've got quotes from 15 well-respected companies. And again, same criteria. They know you. They figure out your needs. They figure out your budget. And they will protect you the right way. They do this with commercial insurance, too. Folks, not many do both. They do with the Eflin Insurance Team, and they gear their things towards small to mid-sized businesses. And there they have virtually unlimited access to programs that protect you, and they fit you again, same way. Needs, budget, you're taken care of. All you got to do is make the call to the Eflin Insurance Team. Grant, Andrew, or Heath at 901-386-GER. That's 4777. They like the GER because they're big Tiger fans. That again, 901-386-4777. That's the number to protection. That's the number to the Eflin Insurance Team. Ladies and gentlemen, it is officially now Taco Bell Crunch time.
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that?
Boop! Choo-choo!
What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time. Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
On one, on two, on three. Hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day. Learned this weekend quite possibly the master of the obvious quote of 2021. LeBron says it's on him to carry the Lakers in AD's absence. No kidding, LeBron, at $40 million per year, it's sure not on Alex Caruso or Jerry Dudley.
Well, he's been a guy that's carried teams before, so I don't think that will be quite the problem. But if they're going to win a championship, it takes more than one. They better get AD back. I just learned moments ago, thanks to Walker Taylor, Germantown and Collierville have their own water systems. They're not on MLGW, so you can go to the commissary and not have to worry about that at all. Glad that's cleared up. We also learned, this was a couple of weeks ago, that EA Sports is bringing back the college football video game. However, today we learned Notre Dame may not be involved. The athletic director at Notre Dame is Jack Swarbrick. He said his school will not provide its name, logos, and other branding property to EA Sports for the game until the new rules that determine whether athletes will be able to receive a cut of the game's profits are finalized. I agree with Jack Swarbrick. Why is EA Sports bringing this back until they figure it out? I think most of us are in agreement. Let them have their share of the money. But let's get this thing done before EA Sports really tries to bring it on board. That just makes sense to me. I know they're in a hurry. They want to bring it back. But, the big product has to have its act together before you can cash in on it.
Could have done without Friday night, the Anthony Edwards dunk. If you haven't seen it by now, you haven't been watching any sports. He had a big dunk. He destroyed Yuta Watanabe, and there's no doubt about that. Fantastic. It counted for 2 points. He did make the free throw for the old-fashioned 3 because he was fouled, and that was 3 of his 7 points in his team's loss that the coach was later fired for. His team is the worst in the NBA, but yay, great Instagram moment and great TikTok moment on a big dunk.
I hate to say it, but that's the culture that we are in now. Make Sports Center, make a big splash, be a top 10 play. If you win that, wow, you're really something
and be
else.
A loser.
Doesn't matter what the score is, if you're proficient, but if you can jump and dunk, you are a hero. I could have done without this program yesterday, and bear with me here. Between the Genesis and other sports that were going on, there was a terrific program on NBC on Doc Emmerich. And the reason I could have done without it is because I realized how much I am going to miss Doc Emmerich. From watching all the highlights and all the stories and his time with Bill Clement and all the other great Eddie Olczyk, all the great people that talked about him. I knew he was a good guy. I didn't realize what a great guy he truly is, and he was unique. He was one of the great voices of our lifetime of any sport. Very special. He's overcome a lot, and I think the sport's really going to miss him. There is not a replacement for Doc Emmerich. And, look, I'm in the business. I understand there's a replacement for everybody. He's one of those that is irreplaceable, and I realized just how much we miss him yesterday.
Keep a close eye tonight on Syracuse at Duke. How alive are the Dukies? If Kentucky's alive, then Duke's got to be alive. And North Carolina clearly shouldn't be tarnished as one of the Blue Bloods suffering. They're not in the same league as the rest of them. Texas Tech at Oklahoma State tonight. Oregon at USC on FS1. We heard Blake Lovell talking about USC earlier. The Grizzlies on the road against the Mavericks. Justice Winslow, he lives, he walks, he's real. He will play tonight. Will the Grizzlies wave the surrender flag pregame like they did on Saturday? This front office better make this work because the front office that preceded them, for all their criticism, they did go to the Western Conference Finals.
The Grizzlies are 5-point underdogs tonight. I wonder if the odds makers already know who's playing and who's not playing. Hey, this is not just
Very critical to setting a point spread to know who's playing.
This is not just a Grizzlies issue. Frankly, I think we saw with Paul George and the Clippers that it is a league thing. And I'll go back to my statement. It is a players' league. It is not a fans' league. I don't understand a lot of the maneuverings that they do. I would hope Justice Winslow plays tonight. If he doesn't play tonight, that would be silly. Second game back. What did he play, 17 minutes the other night? I mean, that would be absurd.
Play.
But if they don't play, Anderson and Clark, Clark had just come back. Now, maybe Brooks has still some issues. I would hope that the Grizzlies would play a bunch of people tonight. We'll be looking for that, and we will be also looking to see if there's any jiggling to the Tigers' schedule for next week. That'll do it for us. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great night, everyone.